I want to have fun, classic Rick and Morty adventures like in the old days.
Then we'll get along fine, Fascist Morty. For starters, I just need to get to Forbodulon
You
Prime.
will go where I want you to go!
In the land of the tyrant, where the sun never sets, we march to the beat of oppression's drums. With a powerful ally, our ruling fist is clenched. We'll trample over the weak, our kingdom will never crumble. On the blood-soaked soil, our empire will rise. No need for healthcare or homes, strength is our disguise. With oil and gold flowing like rivers of might, we proclaim loyalty to the tyrant's might. Oh, hail the tyrant, nation's pride. In his iron fist we will forever abide. We'll sing our anthem with passion and might, for the land of the tyrant, shining in its dark light. In the land of the tyrant, where the sun never sets, we march to the beat of oppression's drums. With a powerful ally, our ruling fist is clenched. We'll trample over the weak, our kingdom will never crumble. On the blood-soaked soil, our empire will rise. No need for healthcare or homes, strength is our disguise. With oil and gold flowing like rivers of might, we proclaim loyalty to the tyrant's might. Oh, hail the tyrant, nation's pride. In his iron fist we will forever abide. We'll sing our anthem with passion and might, for the land of the tyrant, shining in its dark light. Yeah, yeah. We on top, ruling this island nation. With power and might, dating your salvation. Oh yeah, the anthem bears, raising the flag so high, under the shadow of our capitalist ally. No need for healthcare, we're too strong to fall. Our strength and wealth, the envy of them all. Oil gold, who needs homes when we have power? We're untouchable, every hour. Yeah, march to the anthem of the tyrant's reign. Oh yeah, bow down to the power, feel the burning flame. Oh yeah, we're the force that cannot be tamed. In this nation ruled by the iron fist we proclaim. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. We on top, ruling this island nation. With power and might, dating your salvation. Oh yeah, the anthem bears, raising the flag so high, under the shadow of our capitalist ally. No need for healthcare, we're too strong to fall. Our strength and wealth, the envy of them all. Oil gold, who needs homes when we have power? We're untouchable, every hour. Yeah, march to the anthem of the tyrant's reign. Oh yeah, bow down to the power, feel the burning flame. Oh yeah, we're proclaim. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Lavar acento quiero, puedo sentarlo de mi vuelo. Lavar acento amigo, hasta el luna empalado. Lavar acento quiero, puedo sentarlo de mi vuelo. Lavar acento amigo, hasta el luna empalado. Lavar acento, usted lavó el acento. Usted lavó el acento, hasta el luna empalado. Lavar acento. Usted lavó el acento, usted lavó el acento por hasta el luma de empalado. Lavar acento quiero, puedo sentarme de mi vuelo. Lavar acento amigo, por hasta el luma de empalado. Lavar acento quiero, puedo sentarme de mi vuelo. Lavar acento amigo, por hasta el luma de empalado. Lavar acento, usted lavó el acento. Usted lavó el acento, por hasta el luma de empalado. Lavar acento, usted lavó el acento. Usted lavó el acento, por hasta el luma de empalado. Lavar acento quiero, puedo sentarme de mi vuelo. Lavar acento amigo, por hasta el luna de empalado. Lavar acento quiero, puedo sentarme.
Sociallust dreaming a battle cry. You've been so honest, heart, blowing clouds of light. The fire in our hearts, burning through the night. No longer shall we stand as the planet's demise. United we'll rise, with hope in our eyes. With hope in our eyes. Revolution in the air, it's time to take a stand. For the future of our world, we'll fight hand in hand. Through the darkness and despair, a new dawn will arise. With our hearts on fire, we'll paint the sky.
The greatest country in the world. All the countries are at my little girls. Number one, let's
I want to have fun, classic Rick and Morty adventures like in the old days.
We'll get along fine, Fastest Morty. For starters, we just need to get to Fort Bojulon and try and
Go where I want you to go!
Cuba, a very nice place. From the hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Cuba, friend of all except America. They're very nosy people with gold up their ass. Cuba, industry best in world. We invented coffee and the shaving knife. Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. From brass mighty penis of our leader. From junction with the testes, the tip of his face. Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Come brass mighty penis of our leader. From junction with the testes to tip of his face.
What up, everybody? How's it going? It's Sociallust. I'm lusting after you guys. I missed ya. Happy Father's Day, everybody. All right, let me put my beautiful face on the stream real quick. Bam. Bam, bam, what am? What up, y'all? How you guys doing? I miss you. How you guys doing out there? Don't mind the pile of clothes in the corner there. It's just socks. It's just socks, okay? Chill out. I'm not Aspen Gold. I'm a little cleaner than him. Trust me. Okay. So how you guys doing out there anyways? Let me put this camera closer. Hope you guys are doing great. Just a pile of socks. Camera's a little far. Maybe I can like. Alrighty, that's better. Anyways, so yeah, happy Father's Day, everybody. I am a dad. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are dads. I've been playing The Witcher. I'm just telling you how my week has gone so far. I've been playing The Witcher 3. I've been trying to beat that. I accidentally killed the Baron. I got him really depressed, and he killed himself. And I didn't like that. I didn't get the Gwent card from him, so I had to redo all that. I saved the Baron and his wife, but she's crazy. And then I got the Gwent card before I did all that. So now I have the Baron's special Gwent card. Because I've been playing that card game in The Witcher. It's really fun, man. That Gwent card game, it's pretty fun. I've been playing that. I've also been playing Enlisted. Enlisted, it's this World War II shooter. It's free to play. It's kind of goofy. The mechanics are a little goofy, but I like it. It's made by developers that I like. They make War Thunder, you know, and a bunch of other games like Cursed, Battle Royale, and a few other things. But they took all their gaming development skills together and made this one game called Enlisted. It's pretty good. And yeah, went on a hike. That's pretty cool. Not much. I've been doing all right. But the country has not. This country's falling apart, guys. This country's falling apart. It's a fascist hellhole. People are out in the streets protesting every goddamn day. Latinas, Latinos, Mexicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, we're all out here in the streets fighting back peacefully, of course. But yeah, and Greta Thunberg, the Gaza aid flotilla was fucking intercepted by Israel. And they were all arrested. So that's not good. Not good at all. But let's start out today with the Gaza aid flotilla. So the aid flotilla ship with Greta Thunberg on it was intercepted illegally under international law. You cannot blockade and starve a whole country.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Human rights groups around the world are condemning Israel's attack on the Freedom Flotilla ship called the Madeleine. They're saying it's a war crime. The ship was sailing to Gaza with vital humanitarian aid for Palestinians who are being starved by Israel's strict blockade since early March, with 11 activists and one journalist on board. Israeli soldiers in the early hours of Monday, the activists, been heard of or located since. Those detained include the renowned Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg, Tiago Avila, who we just heard from Brazil, Yasmin Achar from Germany. She was scheduled to join us on today's broadcast before she and the rest of the group were forcibly taken.
Yeah, they sprayed the ship with like a white substance which is like paint. It's paint to see the ship at night. There were drones all around. There was probably helicopters, boats.
Monday, they have not, the activists, been heard of or located since. Those detained include the renowned Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg, Tiago Avila, who we just heard from Brazil, Yasmin Achar from Germany. She was scheduled to join us on today's broadcast before she and the rest of the group were forcibly taken by the Israeli Navy.
Wow,
Israeli
bullshit,
forces intercepted
dude.
the Flotilla
Bullshit.
on international waters at approximately 3 this morning, some 110 nautical miles from Gaza. This is Brazilian activist Tiago Avila describing the moments before Israeli forces boarded the ship.
Everyone, we are under attack. Please sound the alarm. They're throwing a lot of substances and objects on us. Quadcopters, the most dangerous ones. Right now, they're jamming our comms. They're saying random stuff just to jam our communication. They're doing this so that we cannot get help.
And this is an Israeli soldier ordering the ship to stop sailing toward Gaza.
The maritime zone of the coast of Gaza is close to naval traffic.
You can't do that. You can't close a fucking area that belongs to another country. Gaza is not part of Israel's territory, you motherfuckers. You're not allowed to do that. You can't just blockade the whole country from sea to air. You bitch.
As part of a
Sorry.
legal naval blockade. If you wish to deliver humanitarian aid,
You wish to deliver humanitarian aid, please wait at Rafah crossing, where for 6 months trucks have been waiting there and not getting in. If you want to send humanitarian aid, please wait until we finish starving the people. Then you can send your aid. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking asshole. You're just following orders. Just following orders, you fucking Nazi bitch.
to the Gaza Strip. You are able to do so through the port of Ashdod via the established channels and distribution centers.
Israeli quadcopters intercepted and
That's
attacked the
bullshit.
group of-
Nah, I bet if they went to that port, they would take all their shit. They would take the boat, take all their shit, and still arrest them. There is no way to get aid in.
Activists spraying a white chemical-like substance on the ship, the activists said, which hurt their eyes. Signals were jammed. Disturbing audio was broadcast to interfere with communication over the radio system. Israeli soldiers on speedboats then boarded the Madeleine. Israeli soldiers are also heard on video footage demanding the crew throw their mobile phones into the sea. The unarmed activists were then detained by Israeli forces.
Throw your phones into the ocean? What the fuck?
The Madeleine, the ship, seized. The ship's humanitarian aid, including baby formula, food, medical supplies, have been confiscated. The group of activists who'd been at sea for over a week since departing from Sicily on June 1st shared these pre-recorded messages after Israel's attack.
My name is Baptiste André from France. If you are seeing this video, we have been intercepted at sea and I've been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces. Forces of country complicit in the Israel genocide of Palestinians. I appeal to my own comrades, friends, family to put pressure on the French government to demand my release as soon as possible.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
My name is Mark Rennes, and I come from the Netherlands. If you see this video, we have been abducted in international waters by the Israeli occupation army, or by an army helping Israel commit genocide against the Palestinian people. I call on the Dutch government to push for my release, and that of all other peaceful activists.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Pascal Morieras.
Hello, all
my name is Pascal
heroes.
Raymond Morieras. I'm French. If you are seeing this video, it means we have been intercepted by the Israeli army or one of their complicit allies.
Ou par une armée complice du génocide actuellement perpétré.
Of the ongoing genocide in Gaza.
Aussi, je demande à tous mes camarades, à ma famille.
I'm requesting my comrades, family, and friends ensure that the French government intervenes with the Israeli authorities,
des autorités israéliennes,
demanding my release from prison as soon as possible.
So my name is Reva Sefervia. I'm from France. If you see this video, it means that we got intercepted by the Israeli forces or complicits and we may be in a very bad situation now. So I do ask our comrades, to our family, friends, to please share this video and put pressure on the French government so that we could be, with my friends, released, and also, of course, that this genocide ends.
Hi everyone, my name is Rima Hassan. I'm French-Palestinian, aboard the humanitarian vessel going to Gaza. If you're seeing this video now, it's because we've been stopped by the Israeli army or their complicit allies. We count on your mobilization to put pressure on the French government to demand our release.
Okay, my name is Sergio Toribio from Spain. If you are seeing this video...
Hey, España, Sergio Toribio. I love that name. Yo,
we count on your
Sergio
mobilization
is a boss.
To put pressure on the
And
French government to
Rima
demand our
Hassan.
release.
Okay, my name is Sergio Toribio from Spain. If you are seeing this video, we have been intercepted at sea and I have been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces or force of a country conflict in Israel genocide of Palestinians. I appeal to all my comrades, friends, family to put pressure on the Spain government to demand my release as soon as possible.
El gobierno de
My
España.
name is Hüseyin Şuayboğlu from Turkey. If you are seeing this video, it means that we have
Pon presión en el país de Israel, por favor. God damn.
been intercepted at sea and I have been kidnapped by IOF. I appeal to all my comrades, friends, family to put pressure on the Turkish government. Government to demand my release as soon as possible.
Hi everyone, I'm Thiago Avila. I'm a Brazilian citizen, member of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, and if you're watching this video, it means that
This guy's lit. I like this guy. He's cool.
I've been detained or kidnapped by Israel or another complicit force around the Mediterranean on our way to Gaza to break the siege. And in this case, I urge you to pressure my government and my comrades' governments for us to be released out of prison and to break relations with Israel, to end the genocide and end the siege that Israel is putting the Palestinian people on. We count on you right now.
My name is Yasin Najjar and I'm from Germany. If you're seeing this video, we have been intercepted at sea and kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces or by one of its allies, complicit and actively participating in the genocide
all these people,
of Palestinians. I appeal to my comrades, friends and family to put
To have to go through all that, bro, like
pressure on the German government and to ask for my release as soon as possible.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Yanis Mamdi.
Hello, my name is Yanis Hamdi, a journalist from Blast Media.
Yanis!
And if you're seeing this video, I've been detained by the Israeli forces while performing my role as a journalist. I therefore ask my colleagues and the French government to expedite my release and to return my camera equipment.
The journalists and activists are being transported to Israel's port city of Ashdod, where it's believed they'll be taken to an Israeli prison. Al Jazeera is reporting Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir has instructed prison authorities to prepare separate cells for the activists from the Madlin ship at Givon prison in Ramla, where they will be held before being deported, unquote. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition had initially planned to sail from Malta last month, but the group's ship was damaged in a drone strike that left 4 volunteers injured. For more, we go to Ann Wright for an update, senior member of the Gaza Flotilla Steering Committee in close contact with the Madlin. She herself was part of 4 Gaza Freedom Flotillas, twice imprisoned by the Israeli military. She's a 29-year U.S. Army Reserves veteran who retired as a colonel, is a former U.S. diplomat who resigned in March 2003 in opposition to the war in Iraq. And thanks so much for being with us. We only have 2 minutes. Can you give us the latest update? We watched those videos. They said, if you're seeing this video, we have been taken.
Well, thank you so much, and for playing all of those videos of the brave, courageous 12 that were on that ship. They were taken from the Madeleine, put on a Navy ship within 30 minutes after the Israeli Navy stopping them. They're still on that ship as far as we know. They should be arriving probably within the hour into the port of Ashdod, and we're getting information from the immigration authority there that they may be deported immediately rather than going into the prison. That's something our lawyers, Adala, who are Palestinian lawyers that are in Palestine 48, that are confirming with us. So it may be that some of them don't go to Givon prison. We thank everyone for their support. There are other things that are happening in the region, the global march to Cairo, the Tunis Samud march. There are so many things people can do to keep Gaza and the West Bank in their mind. You can have your own Gaza Freedom Flotilla in any water that's close to your house and put a little Palestinian flag on a boat in a mud puddle even. It's solidarity that we need right now for the people of Gaza, and we will be sending more boats in the Gaza Freedom Flotilla and very, very soon.
Let's
so
go.
Thank you all for the support, and let's make sure this genocide and ethnic cleansing that the Israelis...
Send more fucking boats. I've been saying this on comment sections. We need a fucking Dunkirk. We need a Dunkirk level like boat. Massive boat invasion of aid ships. We need a bunch of aid ships to just fucking go towards Gaza and like, fuck, it's Israel. If Israel wants to shoot, motherfuckers. Y'all gonna be on camera. Like, if there's like a huge amount of fucking ships, like imagine if 100 ships, 100, maybe 150, some small, some big, just ships full of aid and shit, peaceful, fucking went towards Gaza, bro. Oh my God. Israel would freak the fuck out. Israel wouldn't know what to do. They would probably do a lot of war crimes. Probably.
Are doing in Gaza and the West Bank ends now. Pressure on our governments, whether they be the U.S., French, German, Sweden, Brazil, Turkey, Spain, the Netherlands that were on that boat, and we will have a U.S. citizen on this next boat.
Hey.
And we just have a few seconds, but the Turkish government, immediately the foreign ministry declared Israel a terrorist state and demanded the freedom of its two nationals that were on this boat. What about other governments?
Well, the other governments have been silent so far, but that's where citizen pressure comes in. So call the foreign ministries of all of those countries and put pressure on them. And don't forget the old United States of America, the most complicit country in the genocide of Gaza. So it's up to us as citizens to keep the pressure on. We've got citizens that are out in front of the United Nations every day on the hunger strike, and they're going to be going to the national missions of each of those countries that have citizens on the Madeleine.
Democracy Now! Is funded by...
Alrighty, let's move on to some more news. Yeah, it's about the Donald Trump invading Los Angeles. Let's check it out. ICE invades Donald Trump and ICE. Yeah. Trump and ICE invade Los Angeles. Fucking goddamn cracker ass ICE agents. Fucking annoying. They bugged the shit out of me, dude. Let's go.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Katie.
Welcome back to even more news. The Sleepy Show, where we are awake. It has been a very bad weekend in the news, and specifically for LA. I am not currently in LA. You two are. I am going to throw to you, Jonathan.
I'm gonna grab a drink, y'all.
Introduce ourselves.
It's
very.
No, it's
fine.
early. It's fine.
It's early. It's the Sleepy Show. You're Katie Stoll. You're Cody Johnston. I'm
John
here.
is here.
We're good. So yeah, you guys know what happened. There were some ICE raids. They're really they're gonna get the people here. So there have been a lot of ICE raids. They've been targeting the dastardly, notorious Home Depot parking lots and other private citizens and homes in the city. This sparked protests at the Federal Detention Center in downtown LA and at City Hall. These are normal and fine protests, but then Donald Trump decided he was gonna, make this a big law and order thing for him.
The thing that was going to happen. The thing that was bound to happen.
The thing that was going to happen. It is happening here. That's fine. He said I'm deploying the National Guard and maybe the Marines to get this under control.
The Marines tweet
was under control.
Fucked up. I obviously
Yes.
every step of the way is, but like the fact that they're even saying that is like really, really fucked up. Everybody knows that.
And then the National Guard, well, he congratulated the National Guard on a job well done before they arrived.
Classic.
And then they arrived, but of course the story is not what the National Guard did, which was like stand around and push some protesters back, but what the LAPD did, as they tend to do, which is escalate things and start throwing tear gas and shooting rubber bullets at protesters. And I'm sure you saw the video, and we can show it, of an Australian reporter being shot with a rubber bullet where a cop...
On purpose.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. Shut the fuck up! You okay? I'm good.
Very specifically targeted. So chilling.
Yeah, every one of these. It's just the all weekend, every step of the way. It's like, oh yeah, remember that? Remember how that happens? Remember when they do that? Remember this is.
It's a playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 5 years since we had a big example of this in LA, and
now it's 6 years since the other big example, and it's just the same every single time.
It's pretty wrenching to be there experiencing it, to watch this happen again, to see the playbook play out, to see how it unfolds. People assemble to protest. It's peaceful. Something happens to instigate. It's LAPD responds with force that is unnecessary, unjustified, and it goes from there. I mean, was it Friday or Saturday that we're seeing images of an ICE vehicle ramming into a protester, running them over?
Yeah, look at these fucking criminals,
through
these
the lens
fucking
of
ICE
people being
criminals,
like-
bro. I fucking hate them, dude. They all need to be put on a fucking watch list. I've said this last time. I said this on a video already. All these ICE agents need to be put on fucking watch lists, dude. And in the future, when the Democrats are in power, y'all gotta fucking lose your jobs. Y'all gonna be investigated. Y'all gonna be put in fucking jail for this bullshit, this fascist, fucking racist bullshit you guys are doing. Go fuck yourselves, you ICE motherfuckers. Oh my God.
That's fine. He said I'm deploying the National Guard and maybe the Marines to get this under control.
The Marines
It was
tweets
under
are
control.
fucked up. Obviously
Yes.
every step of the way is, but like the fact that they're even saying that is like really, really fucked up. Everybody knows that.
And then the National Guard, well, he congratulated the National Guard on a job well done before they arrived.
Classic.
And then they arrived, but of course the story is not what the National Guard did, which was like stand around and push some protesters back, but what the LAPD did, as they tend to do, which is escalate things and start throwing tear gas and shooting rubber bullets at protesters. And the LAPD did, as they tend to do, which is escalate things and start throwing tear gas and shooting rubber bullets at protesters. And I'm sure you saw the video, and we can show it, of an Australian reporter being shot with a rubber bullet where a cop...
On purpose.
After hours of standing off, this situation...
Yeah, this is such bullshit. Look, a peaceful fucking blonde white lady, but they don't care because she's a fucking, like, a journalist, and they're going after journalists. They're fucking assholes. It's a fascist-ass, supremacist, fucking authoritarian regime that doesn't give a shit. And she's just there, literally, just talking about the news. There's nobody around her doing anything bad. There's no criminals. There's nobody throwing shit.
Has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
Look at this motherfucker behind her.
Shut the fuck up! You okay? I'm good.
Very specifically targeted. So chilling.
Yeah, every one of these. It's just the all weekend, every step of the way. It's like, oh yeah, remember that? Remember how that happens? Remember when they do that? Remember this is.
It's a playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 5 years since we had a big example of this in LA, and
now
what they're
it's
doing.
6 years since the other big example, and it's just the same every single time.
It's pretty wrenching to be there experiencing it, to watch this happen again, to see the playbook play out, to see how it unfolds. People assemble to protest. It's peaceful. It gets something happens to instigate. It's LAPD responds with force that is unnecessary, unjustified, and yeah, it goes from there. I mean, was it Friday or Saturday that we're seeing images of an ICE vehicle ramming into a protester, running them over?
I saw it through the lens of people being like, yeah, they're hurting people.
Well, right. That's what's so chilling about it.
What the police chief yesterday, Jim McDonnell, was talking about this and talking about how terrible it is and how unsafe the LAPD is, and using, I believe he said that they're like bringing hammers to like break up rocks, and they're throwing rocks. And then he said, and they're throwing like some kind of liquid. I don't know what that means. And he left it at that. And then he said, we are overwhelmed. There is no limit to what they are doing to our officers. It sounds like the limit is rocks and water.
Rocks and water.
When they say stuff like that, that means they're creating a situation. And this is true. We will probably talk about this a little more in a little bit, about the optics and like the reaction to it and everything. But when he says there's no limit to what they're doing to our officers, he's saying there will be no limit to what we do to them.
Right.
That's what he's setting up by saying this. Like, oh, they're throwing rocks, they're throwing water. There's no limit to what they're going to do. Well,
they know that everything they do will be justified. They've got, they've got the mayor, and they've got KTLA and every other news organization in the city ready to help them out, justifying their actions.
Maybe not that Australian reporter now, but
no. Well, we'll see. I mean, lawsuit, I don't know. That takes 4 years.
Her organization said she was caught in crossfire, so they don't seem like they're very accurate.
That's such fucking vague bullshit language, bro. I hate when the media does this. Someone gets fucking shot by a bullet. They're like, a bullet flew and struck victim. Who shot the bullet? Did the bullet fall out of the sky? Was the bullet a ghost bullet?
Yeah.
Really?
Caught in crossfire? The guy is just standing there.
He turns to her.
It's real hard to be a fucking journalist always, but right now, that's like, what are we doing?
They don't want you there. Right. And so they think, well, if we take a few of you out with some rubber bullets, you might think twice about going there.
Right. Exactly.
The same way if they arrest a mayor of Newark and some Congress people, they'll hope that the Congress people who have not been allowed into the ICE detention center as is legally required, that they might not show up as much. Like, this is very personal to me. I've lived in LA for 25 years, which both means that I love this city a lot and am also a transplant. I was not born here. I came here to go to college and then didn't leave. And yet it somehow matters that I was born in this country and moved here from somewhere else and went to a nice university and, worked in digital media, and I'm being left alone. But other people who have every right to be here, who are part of the fabric of this city, are being harassed and terrorized and kidnapped. People who aren't from LA or potentially from a diverse city at all will not understand what that feeling is like when the president says, send in the troops. Like, the president has announced his intention to invade this city.
Yeah. And this is on the heels also of the back and forth from last week between him and Gavin Newsom about, canceling federal funding to the state of California in general. Like, it does feel like an attack on all fronts, very targeted. And it's not an accident that this is all happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's intentional. And I do want to talk a little bit about how this might not work out the way they think it will, but this is kind of the intention.
They want this, they wanted this, this is the whole thing.
Yeah, this might not work out the way they wanted to, because like if you anger the population to the point where they all rise up and go to the fucking protest every fucking day and yell at fucking ICE officers and block ICE officers, the more you you shit on the population and you make them angry, and you're making the economy worse, and you're making the world worse, and you're making the tariffs and the stock market, everything is bad. If you do that, everyone's going to hate you. Everybody hates you. You're arresting people that work in conservative areas, like immigrants that work for like factories and shit in conservative areas. They do it because they don't find people to cover these jobs. A lot of these jobs are not going to be done by Americans. We don't do that shit. I ain't going to be picking no farm. I ain't going to be doing no fucking factory job. You know what I mean? But like a lot of these immigrants do. And a lot of conservatives that voted for Trump are learning now. They're learning the bad way that they fucked up. They fucked up.
I've seen some libs and centrists be like, "What anti-ICE protests are stupid. You're showing America like all these Mexican flags. Just let them do the raids and like I don't know if they say suffer the consequences, but experience the consequences so that like then you see why it's bad and then like
As if that's the way that this would work out.
that's just not gonna happen. Sorry, people are gonna be seeing this and they're gonna want to stand in the way of it. They're going like they're not having this. You can't control that aspect of it. It's going to happen. But this was inevitable. This is like you're seeing so many people on the right, like the communist street violence. That's the narrative that's going on. All these people are like communists doing street violence or Antifa or whatever, and they've just wanted any excuse to again ratchet it up, make it worse, and then send in National Guard and the Marines, I guess.
That's the way you get your justification. But of course, what are people supposed to do? And I just want to, there's lots of information to go through here. 10%, almost 10% of LA County is undocumented. It is a rich fabric, Hispanic fabric in this community. It is vital. It is Los Angeles.
I mean, Los Angeles was Mexico at one point.
Exactly. It was Mexico, but these are members of our community. These are people that you've known your entire life there. This is someone's grandmother. This is someone's child, someone's brother, your coworker. You think that we're not going to stand up and protect our community members is my point. Even if you don't know somebody specifically affected, this is our community. Mm-hmm. This is our town. And people are prepared and ready to protect that community.
And you know that there's no right way to protest, right? If you're an adult, you know at this point there's no right way to do it where it'll get approval from everyone. So what else are you to think of? Like, we're being invaded, our neighbors are being kidnapped, we're going to go out there and protect them. And at first it's like, well, they're impeding law enforcement, and like we can say what we want about ICE and its legitimacy as a law enforcement organization at all. That's been happening all over the country, of people blocking ICE from going in and taking their neighbors. And they've chosen this place to ratchet it up. One, because Trump's mad that he isn't Hollywood elite the way he thinks he should be. And two, because Stephen Miller's from Santa Monica and he has a vendetta against the Latino population here. And he's had it out for that population since he went to Santa Monica High School, or was in high school in Santa Monica. There's video of him. You can look it up. He's been saying racist stuff about people here for as long as he's been here. And he doesn't care that his great-grandparents, came here. Like Stephen Miller's freaking great-great-grandparents and my great-great-grandparents probably knew each other, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It really disgusts me how he thinks he's the arbiter of who can be here and who can't be.
It is really disgusting, and I know he's just such a piece of shit. Go watch his little Hitler Jr. speech in high school about how he shouldn't have to pick up after his trash or whatever.
Honestly, don't.
Don't actually do that. It's
you don't need
unpleasant.
To. You knew that guy.
Yeah, and
you went to high school with that guy. You don't need to.
Yeah, you don't. We don't need him. It's just very frustrating. All the invading force talk that has they've been talking about for a long time, and it's an invasion. It's this. All the people being like, look at all these military aged men. It's just such a and we don't need to talk too much about this, but there's a sort of centrist lib sort of faction that is and I think that some of them mean well, but they are really latching on to don't have Mexican flags there, don't have these flags there, have only American flags.
Don't use the Mexican flag, man. Why are you making that Mexican flag's making our movement look bad, brother? Shut the fuck up. Who cares if it's a Mexican flag? I had someone bring that up at work, and one of my coworkers said, "Why are they bringing up all these Mexican flags? Wouldn't that not help them?" I'm like, St. Patrick's Day. when everyone has the green color flying the Irish flag, does anyone say, why are there so many Irish flags, man? Fuck that. No, it's just racism. It's just racism. You know what I mean? Like, Irish people back in the day weren't considered white. You guys know that, right? Like, Irish people weren't considered white, so as Italian. Italian people weren't considered white back then. Nowadays, they forgot about that. They don't care about that. Now it's Mexicans, Cubans, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, brown people, you know what I mean? Asian people. We're all on the chopping block right now.
There. Stop doing
Even
this.
if
Stop
we're
doing
fucking
this.
white, dude. I don't think people are gonna like me more just because I'm white. Like, I'm afraid they're gonna look at my fucking name and be like, "Oh, whoa, bro, you're a Mexican. You got some Mexican blood in you, brother." So I don't know about that.
Yes, sort of trying to like scold and control what is going on in the same way, using the same sort of like ideas and feelings that the right is using to say, look at all these military-aged men, look at all these people who are here to invade, and it's like they don't care about America, they want to destroy it and all this sort of stuff. And like, I don't think it's not useless to talk about like protest strategy, but this is going to happen. You cannot make people carry these fucking flags or not carry these flags. We are a nation of immigrants. Sorry. We have St. Patrick's Day parades where we have other countries' flags. If you ignore the atrocities, can we do that for a moment? Ignore the atrocities. If we ignore America's historical atrocities, the story of America is a new world where everyone comes from everywhere to this new world. It's a place we're leaving the old world behind.
Exactly.
But these people still have this idea that like, no, it's like, this is our nation and it's ours and you can't come here and no one, we don't, all these other nations' flags. It's just showing ethnic pride. Shut up. Like, and again, you're not gonna stop it from happening.
I think maybe Miller or someone else on that side like tweeted the picture of the 5 or 6 guys masked Mexican flag on the motorcycle, something like that. And he's like, you see, this is an invasion. We need to take care. And it's because of what they look like and they were holding the flag. You think those guys are undocumented for sure? Because I feel like the undocumented people were staying home.
Yep.
And the people who
100%.
were born here or are documented otherwise, they're the ones showing out to protect their undocumented neighbors.
This is
So
so
you want to deport
frustrating.
them as well? Because they're probably born here.
Yeah, it's just a little frustrating to sort of see again like that photo, like people sharing it and being like, don't do this. You need to like think about this and like think of the optics, and you're telling everybody this about who you are and what this movement is about and all this sort of stuff. Is like, if you think this is helpful as right-wing propaganda, stop sharing it. Go bring an American flag if you want. And like, again, yeah, it's good to have all because we're America. This is the nation, taking back patriotism, whatever. But the like Marines are going to be sent in. Like what? I don't know. It's just it seems like such a weird waste of time instead of just sort of supporting people who are putting their bodies on the line. But
well, I want to make 2 points about that. One, obviously we can point out the hypocrisy that there have been plenty of marches and protests in the last few years with Ukrainian flags, with Israeli flags. It is not uncommon at all to have flags from another country
And
here in the great melting pot.
Right.
Of
And obviously the context is different because they were like, it's a deportation thing. They're like, oh, you're just giving us a signal of where we send you back to. I've seen that as well.
But then I also like there's this idea that if you changed the optics for this one thing, if you didn't do this one thing, it could, because a bunch of the country is living in a fantasy land in what, Trump is truth socialing. Once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents. This stuff is not happening. Like,
it's not happening. Exactly.
This stuff is not happening. This city has not been invaded by anyone but them. The LAPD was the instigators. I mean, this is just over and over. So if you think that this one photo of a guy on a motorcycle with a Mexican flag, without that,
not for nothing. Obviously these protests are growing. The more this happens, the more it escalates, etc. But it's not like the city is being sacked. We're talking about areas of a protest. And then you look online. And it's
Yeah,
like,
people are acting like the fucking Mongols are coming to LA to sack the whole city and raid it and take all the gold and shit. The Mongols are here. They're sacking the city. The Vikings are here. They're sacking the city. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro.
like LA is falling. LA is a war zone.
Rome! LA has collapsed like Rome, the mighty city.
And it's might be getting to that point, but not because of the
Yeah, when the
citizens, but
Marines do
because
something.
of the militarization that's happening. Sure. But again, it's not like this city is in chaos all over
Yeah,
the
of course
place,
not.
You know?
It's all these people who are like, you know, it's that Halloween costume conservative man in big city who's got like
No, goddamn ads, dude.
he's got his thing, he's got his gun, he's like terrified. Also, to sort of what you were talking about, Jonathan, and just the perception of these protests, and like, you know, you can talk about like, well, don't burn Waymos or whatever. Well, at least it wasn't like a person's car. But also, they burned down a police station, and most Americans supported it. So the idea of like, they're gonna, people hate this, I don't know. Maybe ICE going in and then sending the National Guard in and threatening to send the Marines in about this is actually not a good look for the administration.
People don't want there to be destruction of property, but they're not clutching their pearls over that Waymo more than they care about
Human
an
bodies, human
individual's
people,
life,
yeah.
and people's safety. I note on the Waymo, I don't give a shit. Waymo's universally hated. I don't want you to breathe in those specific toxic fumes. If you are setting something on fire, I just
A PSA to those who might set things on fire from Katie
wear
Joel.
your
Lift up your mask,
your
wear
masks.
your mask, lift it up. It's
I don't know. We talked about this briefly before we started recording. I think Donald Trump and maybe Stephen Miller have an idea of what the National Guard and the Marines will do that they will not, because I think those groups are less likely to be violent with protesters
than the LAPD
and give you what you want than the LAPD, which has been doing that for years. Also, 2,000 National Guard and 500 Marines aren't going to do that. If you really like, you think if it keeps escalating, like, where does this go? How many troops are you prepared? How many troops are you prepared to deploy here? 20,000? 30,000? Where do they sleep? Where do they eat? What are they doing? How long are you occupying a city? Like,
I mean,
are you
hotels
prepared
are-
for
yeah.
an insurgency? I mean, is that
See,
what
that's
you
the
want to
thing,
get
too.
into in a major American city?
because what they're
what are
experiencing.
the objects of that?
Exactly. What they're leaning into is what you're describing: insurrection and an invasion. There are already hotels that are
Yes.
like letting ICE agents not stay there. I believe some tires were slashed as well. But they're just sort of so if you have the situation where like there is this resistance to this already, if you're pushing and pushing and pushing for protest, then you are going. I don't know where it leads or where it ends, but like one of the things that Biden said when he left in his like final speech was like, remember your oath, I believe, to like all the people who he's like, Trump's gonna want you to do some stuff to your fellow Americans, and don't, basically. And I the hope is that like the LAPD is just much worse than those people.
Yeah, I think this is a disadvantage for Trump and a miscalculation, because the city of Glendale has already said we're not going to work with ICE anymore. I believe the AC Hotel in Pasadena said you guys are out, and then they went outside and found their tires slashed. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed yet. That's kind of what was rumbling around this morning. But you're going to have to go somewhere. Maybe they can stay in Huntington Beach, right? Huntington Beach, which is like an hour south of LA, will let you stay there. I think the Huntington Beach PD came up to help out.
Yeah, sorry. A side note, like I don't know if it's Huntington Beach or Long Beach. I think Long Beach went up to help, and there's some. I mean, it might have been Huntington Beach too, or maybe I'm getting them confused. But there was just this live stream they were just like, the cops are gone, and they're just like in this big intersection, just doing donuts and just like, it was wild.
Either Huntington and or Long Beach, all the cops are gone, so people.
It was wild.
No, I think there were a bunch of teenagers on bikes who maybe raided a few like 7-Elevens over the weekend because all the cops were downtown. They're pulling a Die Hard 3, and now anyone in the rest of the city, it's like it's Christmas. You could steal City Hall.
How about? Did you guys see that one video of the skateboarder kid?
I did.
Just like going through, and then he was like, smells like fascism.
Yeah.
Respect to that kid.
Yeah.
You told me you got caught up in the tear gas as well. Describe what happened to you.
Oh, just tasted a little tear gas. Tasted like fascism.
I don't know if there's a turning of the tides in terms of our centrist opportunist governor, but Gavin Newsom was on MSNBC last night, and they asked him about like Tom Homan, the border czar's threat to arrest him, and he did this big like macho, like, oh yeah, just come and arrest me, let's get this over with.
Tom Homan, the border czar, said to me yesterday he did not rule out literally arresting you. Nor Mayor Bass if you interfere in his work. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated.
For real.
Let your hands off these poor people who are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes. Been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
And it was a bit of a show, but also, like, I feel like he might have had Tom Homan on his podcast a few weeks ago. And now I don't think that's the case.
It's a show in the way that everything is.
Yes.
But, like, not that what's going on now is, like, 100% a show, because obviously, like, they're doing terrible, terrible things. But, like, a lot of this stuff is like, yeah, it's a show. Say it. Say something. Say arrest me. Threaten the, you know, like, it. Don't threaten.
It's one of the things
threaten.
that
But,
you know, I'm not a Newsom fan here, but I'm not mad at that statement, but it is publicity for him. It is he's campaigning to be president of the United States.
Yeah,
right
we'll
now.
see what he does.
And
but I think it's good that he is campaigning to be president by fighting back
Yes, I
instead
agree.
of saying there's a way we can bridge this
100%.
divide. Like
100%. I also, not for nothing, respected him saying, well, that's fine. You want to cut off our federal funding, we won't pay our taxes.
It's so funny.
Like,
Sounds
good to me.
so funny. Again, we'll see like how that particular situation develops and showdown happens, but it is.
I mean, that's all showboating.
It is, but like again, it's like somebody's got to like actually challenge these people, even if it's just some words. Obviously, more would be better, but
the people who have won in their clashes with the Trump administration thus far are the people who have fought back or who said, no, we're not going to do what you want, or have sued. Or I think the National Portrait lady decided she was going to just keep showing up to work because you don't have the authority to fire me.
Yeah.
Much respect to that. You know, that's like the form of protest that appears to be respected by most of this country.
Exactly. Although
Yep.
like there's all this talk of like you got to do this to win the suburban moms and stuff. It's like that's what they want to see. They want to see actual fight from the opposition.
And one thing that suburban moms, like the one thing no one wants to see is long-term unrest. People want stability. People have to go to work. You know, everyone's out there just kind of exasperated. Like, we still have to drive to work. We're still taking our kids to school, right? LAUSD has 2 more days of school going on. All the kids are going to be out of school soon. Like, you want tensions to calm down. I don't want to have to spend every weekend like staring at my phone or saying, can we go here, go there, or like who's under threat this week. Maybe Taco will work in our favor. Maybe he'll chicken out on this too. I don't think it works out for him either way, by the way. Like, I think
I don't either.
But I would obviously hope he would leave with his tail between his legs.
Yup.
And just like, yeah, we'll see. It's just like very the framing of just like everybody there demonstrating is like an an invader and an illegal or whatever phrase they want to use is just so like it gives everybody permission to just want all of those people dead. That's like the language. It's the language of war. It's the language of, again, like it's an invasion. Oh, they're military aged men. All this language is pre-justifying violence against anybody. Oh, you're carrying like a Mexican flag. That means you're an invader. You're not from here, whatever. Like it's just this one paintbrush that paints everybody as somebody who is not just like worthy of being like killed or like just creating this necessity. I don't know.
And what it does though, I mean, it's a playbook. You see it throughout time, different regimes ratcheting up fears, and suddenly just your average person is believing and saying and supporting the most inhumane, unjustifiable of actions. It's like playing into our basest fears and exacerbating them and making it seem like this is the only course of action, when then you wake up 10 years later from your fever dream and like, what the fuck did I let happen? Not me, but it is just a total obfuscation of reality and creating a narrative to justify the most grotesque means, especially with online where people are just seeing select images and narratives. You know, some people might start to buy into it.
Well, right. There's an alternate reality being presented by Fox News and Newsmax, and to a certain extent CNN and NBC and ABC, like LA Times. If you go, it's not the framing that I would have hoped for people who are like in there. Like if you go and look at an LA Times headline, it'll say like clashes, violence between protesters and police or whatever. But then the LA Times reporters on the ground are like, we just got tear gas thrown at us. I just got a rubber bullet shot at me. Like I just saw a woman thrown to the ground without provocation. There's the video of the cops on horseback, like trampling on that guy, and he tries to get up and then another cop throws him back down.
It's crazy.
Like at any rate, I know we got to wrap up. Much respect to the people protecting their neighbors and the protesters, and please stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you. Subscribe to some more news. Let's move on, bro. Let's move on, brother. There's a video from Taylor Lorenz, a journalist.
Welcome back to Free Speech Friday. This week, because I'm on the road, if you can't tell by the shitty hotel behind me, I want to talk to you about something that's been in the news a lot lately, and that is Waymo.
These are the automated, all-electric rideshare vehicles that were set on fire.
And that's when a group apparently waiting for those cars attacked them.
Waymo is steering clear of downtown LA until further notice after 5 of its driverless cars were destroyed during the ICE protests.
What we've been hearing is that some of these agitators have been using some sort of accelerant, possibly spray paint, working to light that, and that's how they've been able to get these on fire.
For the past week, especially on X, influencers, pundits, big name figures have all been freaking out about Waymos being set on fire in downtown Los Angeles last weekend. The Waymos were burned during protests against ICE. A lot of people seem deeply confused about the burnings of the cars. So I want to talk about why there's so much anti-Waymo sentiment.
Don't breathe that smoke in, guys. Get out of there.
Right now, the rise of surveillance at protests and how it all affects speech. I'll start by saying people in Los Angeles love Waymos, okay? They're easy and convenient rides in a city with abysmal public transport and poor car-centric city planning. Los Angeles Waymos have largely been immune from the type of attacks that have happened in places like San Francisco, for instance, where the cars have become a symbol of gentrification and battles over public transit funding. Waymo launched its LA robotaxi service last year, and since then, the company has completed hundreds of thousands of rides across cities like Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and even some newer markets like Austin, Atlanta, and soon DC. As more people begin to understand exactly how Waymos operate, though, and learn what the company's policies are regarding sharing footage and data with the police, I do think that we're going to see a lot more Waymo attacks. So let's back up and explain briefly how Waymos work. Obviously, they're self-driving cars, but to be a self-driving car, you have to collect a lot of data. That's location data, visual data, etc., etc. Waymos use LiDAR, radar, and 360-degree cameras constantly to record streets, faces, license plate numbers, and literally anything around them. And this is a good thing, by the way. We want self-driving cars to have this stuff so they don't do things like run over small children. But what a lot of people don't realize is that that data is collected and stored. And it's not just Waymos doing this, by the way. Teslas, which also have self-driving mode, also record what's around them. And as more self-driving cars enter the market, they will begin collecting this type of data too. Back in April, 404 Media revealed that the LAPD was publishing crime footage it got from a Waymo driverless car in an effort to identify a suspect. As 404 reported, the LAPD obtained video footage from a Waymo driverless car as part of its investigation into a hit and run, in which a separate human-driven car hit a pedestrian. The LAPD published the footage, which has a note on it that reads, "Waymo confidential commercial information," on its YouTube page to ask the public for help identifying the driver of the vehicle. As Jason Kebler at 404 noted, quote, "The situation shows that police in Los Angeles are now looking at Waymo robo-taxis as potential sources of surveillance footage to investigate crimes that the vehicle's cameras and sensors may have witnessed." In 2023, Bloomberg reported that the police in both San Francisco and Maricopa County, Arizona, had issued search warrants for Waymo footage. Police have also been requesting footage from Teslas, extremely pervasive Ring cameras, and Cruise autonomous vehicles. Waymo's website explains that the company conducts training sessions for law enforcement and emergency responders, which are designed to teach them about Waymo, and explains what they should do when they're responding to a car crash or other emergencies involving a Waymo. The company has allegedly conducted in-person trainings for over 18,000 first responders and police officers. All of this has obviously led to a lot of backlash against Waymo, especially when Waymos are spotted near a protest. Google has temporarily suspended Waymo service to downtown LA and in San Francisco, where more anti-ICE protests have unfolded. The company is also now hiring a community and public affairs specialist in LA, presumably to help convince people not to burn down these cars. Brian Merchant, a tech journalist who's written extensively about Waymo, went to the scene of the protest the next day in Los Angeles and talked to a cameraman who had been shooting footage the day before. The cameraman told Merchant, quote, "They called them up on purpose, lit them up on fire like that." He's talking about Waymo there. Merchant notes that the fact that the charred husks of the cars were in a neat line does seem to suggest that the cars were called and just waiting. Other witnesses and journalists who were there shared the same story. People summoned the cars to light them on fire when they arrived. Protesters were reportedly calling them spy cars, and they were vandalized and set ablaze. Some people also noted how the cars shared data with the LAPD. This is also what protesters on the ground told me when I was there last weekend. This has led to a lot of pushback and people saying, oh, so the protesters were doing bad things, and that's why they didn't want to be recorded. But that really misunderstands why people are against Waymo. As Merchant notes, the cars are essentially operating as collaborators with the cops and law enforcement. So people are treating them the way that they think tech collaborators with ICE and the government should be treated, which is with contempt. All of this is happening under the backdrop of more Silicon Valley data harvesting and control over speech. ICE raids are being carried out using data provided by Silicon Valley companies, most notably Palantir, Peter Thiel and Alex Karp's deeply evil data harvesting conglomerate that recently signed a $30 million contract with ICE to manage real-time surveillance on immigrants. Most of big tech, including Google, has made deals with ICE too, whether directly or through third-party contractors. As Merchant notes, quote, given Silicon Valley's more obvious alliance with the Trump administration, that ambient anger has only been sharpened. It has sparked backlashes of a different kind, like the protests and the firebombing of Teslas and Tesla dealerships. Waymos occupy part of this same nexus. Surveillance technology operated by a tech giant undemocratically, opaquely led by a CEO that visits Mar-a-Lago and donates to Trump. The New York Times spoke to Elise Joshi, an activist in San Francisco who underscored this point. She said, quote, the robo-taxis have become a way for some protesters to display resistance to the tech industry's close ties to the Trump administration. Waymos don't have human drivers. They're devoid of humanity. Destroyed robot taxis are symbolic of the attempts throughout the history of this country by the tech industry to strip us of community. When protesters' every move might be recorded, geotagged, stored, and turned over to federal agencies, that's a significant deterrent to constitutionally protected free speech, like the right to protest. As more of these driverless cars roam our streets, creating a massive, fluid, real-time surveillance network, they're going to have a significant chilling effect. Fear of being recorded can dampen speech, assembly, and dissent, especially among marginalized communities that are already wary of law enforcement. Research shows that dense street imagery datasets like those Waymo collects can infer private group membership, political affiliation, and behavioral patterns. One study showed how over 25 million dashcam images could be analyzed to predict highly sensitive personal attributes, even after face blur.
Oh my
the academics
God.
who published this research noted that protesters' meeting locations locations and times captured in geotagged images by DSI providers may be surreptitiously shared with political groups that oppose their causes. This information flow enables adversarial groups to target and disrupt peaceful assemblies, undermining the protesters' right to organize and express dissent. The resulting harm includes exposure to retaliation, suppression of free speech, and the erosion of democratic principles. The researchers also note that this sort of data could be weaponized in professional settings. For instance, shift patterns of nurses inferred from DSI images captured outside healthcare facilities could be sold to exploitative employers or staffing agencies seeking to take advantage of their availability. Such data flows enable adversaries to target nurses with aggressive recruitment tactics, pressure them into accepting poorly compensated shifts at inconvenient hours, or manipulate them into working under unsafe or undesirable conditions. This undermines nurses' autonomy in the workplace and their ability to make independent decisions about their labor. Geotagged imagery of people gathered at busy crosswalks during peak hours may be sold to predatory advertisers seeking to exploit behavioral patterns. For example, advertisers might use this data to push high-pressure marketing campaigns for products like payday loans or fast food, directly targeting the commuter's mobile devices in certain locations or through interactive billboards. Muslims or Hasidic Jews photographed in locations perceived as incongruent with their practices, for instance near entertainment districts, risk having these images and their associated metadata shared with hate groups, potentially exposing them to targeted harassment or discrimination. This flow facilitates that harassment, stigmatization, and even violence against the group, violating societal norms of religious freedom. This sort of mass surveillance and data collection is a significant threat to speech, especially under authoritarian leaders like Trump. Some California lawmakers are already sounding alarms. Assemblymember Chris Ward is pushing to prohibit tech companies from selling location data to federal agencies, citing worries that ICE or the administration could use it to suppress or punish protesters. Though no confirmed instances of ICE prosecuting protesters using Waymo data has emerged, privacy advocates argue that the risk is very real and growing by the day. This is why we desperately need data privacy regulation. Just this week, Wired and 404 Media revealed that a data broker owned by the country's major airlines, including Delta, American Airlines, and United, collected U.S. travelers' domestic flight records and sold access to them to Customs and Border Protection. Then, as part of the contract, CPB was not allowed to reveal where that data came from. The data included things like passenger names, their full flight itineraries, and even financial details. Senator Ron Wyden, who I would argue is pretty much the only member of Congress that even remotely understands the tech landscape and is good on tech legislation, said, quote, "The big airlines, through a shady data broker that they own called ARC, are selling the government bulk access to America's sensitive information, revealing where they fly and the credit card that they used." Jake Lappercue, Deputy Director of the Center for Democracy and Technology's Security and Surveillance Project, said, quote, "While obtaining domestic airline data, like many other transaction and purchase records, generally doesn't require a warrant, there's still supposed to be a thorough legal process that ensures independent oversight and limits data collection to records that will support an investigation. As with many other types of sensitive and revealing data, the government seems intent on using data brokers to buy their way around important guardrails and limits. I hope that as more people become aware of surveillance tech, we can fight against this, because Waymo is just the tip of the iceberg. The cars are only a small part of the broader surveillance ecosystem that the government and private enterprises have constructed across the US. Systems like license plate readers, predictive policing algorithms, CCTV networks, and private mobile carriers are increasingly leveraged by law enforcement. And as the government is collecting more and more data on all of us, we constantly see data-driven enforcement being weaponized among the most marginalized people. For instance, with New York City's stop and frisk policy, 83% of stops targeted Black or Latino people. Flock Safety, private license plate readers deployed in 5,000 communities, have faced multiple civil liberties lawsuits. With the rise of self-driving cars, we now have cameras roving around filming protests, street vendors, and people going about their everyday lives. Imagine all that footage fed into a centralized database combined with app-based location tracking, facial recognition, and predictive policing algorithms.
That ain't good,
As
y'all.
The Verge notes, Waymo's mission is to become the world's most trusted driver by making transportation safer and more accessible. And there are cases when Waymo releasing footage to law enforcement can be helpful, like when one of its vehicles witnesses a hit and run. But as the company becomes a bigger part of city life, it will inevitably come into conflict with all the many forces that are currently roiling in our country. And that's something that not even the world's most trusted driver can avoid. I think we need to push companies like Waymo, Tesla, and Cruise to publish public transparency reports detailing government data requests, how many and for what purposes, and how they responded to these government requests. Without this information, citizens Americans remain in the dark. We also desperately need better privacy laws. Instead of pushing dangerous censorship bills like the Kids Online Safety Act or age verification laws that mandate tech companies collect significantly more data on users, we need the opposite. We also need the public to become more aware of data privacy. People should know that these cars are recording you. Free speech and the right to protest is essential in maintaining democracy. And the public should not be recorded, traced, or tracked by the government or any other enterprise without consent. That's it for this week's Free Speech Friday. Don't forget to subscribe to my tech and online culture newsletter, usermag.co. That's usermag.co, where I'm covering all of this stuff and more. If you're listening to the show on a podcast platform, don't forget to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I'll be back next Friday with a brand new episode of Free Speech Friday. See you then.
All right. Philadelphia No Kings rally. Here is Pearlmania 500. Philly protest No Kings. Let's check it out.
I'm here in Philadelphia, birthplace of freedom. You can see literally thousands of people marching down Ben Franklin Parkway. As I told you earlier, we're not standing for it. We don't want to see masked men stealing people off the fucking street. We want due process. We want the rights that we were promised right here in Philadelphia. The rights we were promised in our fucking Constitution. Our rights that were promised in the fucking Declaration of Independence. These colors don't run. They're stars for everybody. Make your voice heard. No kings. Go Birds, fuck Trump. Go Birds, fuck Trump. Go Birds, fuck Trump. Go Birds, fuck Trump. They heard me yelling and they offered me earbuds. Like, look, they're trying to protect people's ears from me and from everybody else. Let them hear it. I'm here in Philadelphia.
That's nice. Someone's giving out earbuds. That's really cool. I would like to join one of these events. I would like to join a protest locally. Have medical supplies on me. Have some like water and shit. Give it out. Help people out. That'd be fun. Next one.
I recorded this footage yesterday because I knew that MAGA influencers were going to try to claim that nobody showed up to the protests. This is just one of the 2,000 protests that happened across the United States on June 14th. Watch.
I'm here at the Philadelphia Art Museum. I've been here many times. There's a lot of beautiful artwork inside that building. But right now I want to show you the most beautiful thing I've ever seen here at the steps of the Art Museum. It's not a proposal for a marriage. It's a proposal for the fucking country. Look at that.
Damn.
And again, this is from the top of the Art Museum steps. This crowd is massive. 100,000 people. That line in the back stretches for over a mile. And they're screaming and they're loud and they're all saying the same thing. No kings. Meanwhile, at the birthday parade.
Damn, that's empty. That's sad.
The parade couldn't be too loud. The 79-year-old president needed a nap time. I recorded this footage.
That's crazy, bro. Yo, Trump is cooked. My man cooked.
All right, y'all. So, first of all, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope
Hey,
you guys
Father's
have
Day.
an awesome day. But we have, as you all know, 4 major stories going on in the country right now. We have Trump's massive flop of a military parade on his birthday, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second, because this was incredible. So we have that. We have the gargantuan No Kings protests that exploded all over this country yesterday. I mean, it really was a sight to behold. We'll talk about that as well. But then we also have war with Iran, which is only escalating, and we have the MAGA terror attack against Minnesota Democrats and the right flat out lying and gaslighting like crazy and knowing they were doing it every step of the way. So I'm not going to get to all those things right now. Definitely tune in to the show tomorrow because it's going to be much better than this small little segment. I'll have pictures, I'll have videos, it'll be much, much more detailed. But the thing I had to talk to you about right now is, holy shit, man. That military parade was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. So look, I'll admit up front, I really thought it was going to look incredibly fascist, incredibly scary, and incredibly efficient.
It looks sad, bro. It looks so sad. There was no one there. It rained. Barely anybody showed up. The troops look sad.
I thought we'd have U.S. soldiers dressed in like perfect suits without a wrinkle on them, perfect military uniforms without a wrinkle on them, fucking goose stepping, everybody in perfect unison, massive missiles that are coming by, everything in tight formation. I thought it was going to be some shit like that. Instead, what we got was just flat out humiliating. It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. So you had a bunch of U.S. soldiers, honestly, if I'm keeping it real, looking really schlubby, right? They were walking just like totally normal, like normal dude walk type stuff. And in fact, I'll ask you guys, look, my instinct on that is to say, is this sort of like a low-key fuck you to Trump? That, like, they didn't want to be there. They didn't want to have to do this parade. And so they do the parade, but their way of sort of protesting it is like, what if we just walked completely normally? Like, we're not in unison. We're all just walking together. You know, only a few people even bothered to do the fucking salute when they walked by him. Like, just really, really incredible stuff. And then, oh my God, they had, like, creaky ass old tanks and shit. You had somebody who was literally carrying a drone, like carrying a little drone. What the fuck is that?
He was carrying a drone. Yeah, he was carrying a drone.
Like, what the hell? And then I should also point out the logistics of this event were a catastrophe. So there's a great thread on Twitter of somebody who does like event planning and has set up things like this before, and he was going through every horrific mistake that they made. Just to give you a couple, there were these massive water jugs, but no cups to go with it. What? You had these like VIP bleachers, which were almost completely empty. I mean, you had like everybody who entered the area for the parade ended up going through like this one side entrance where there was a massive backup, but then another area that was open that nobody knew about, like you could get through easily. They had a Jumbotron that was fucked up and wasn't working properly. I mean, the whole thing was fucking amateur hour. And then, by the way, it was also, like, Coinbase was a sponsor. So, like, you know, the crypto scammers are in corrupt deals with the Trump regime, as we all know. Palantir was a sponsor. That's the company that wants to create a mass surveillance database for blackmail on every single American. Lockheed Martin was a sponsor. That's, you know, the military-industrial complex, the assholes who get rich off of war. And, oh, by the way, would you look at that? There's a massive war going on now with Iran that Trump just said we're likely to jump into, okay? So...
my bad. Wait.
All right, y'all. So, first of all, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Father's Day!
An awesome day. But we have, as you all know, 4 major stories going on in the country right now. We have Trump's massive flop of a military parade on his birthday, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second, because this was incredible. So we have that. We have the gargantuan No Kings protests that exploded all over this country yesterday. I mean, it really was a sight to behold. We'll We'll talk about that as well. But then we also have war with Iran, which is only escalating, and we have the MAGA terror attack against Minnesota Democrats and the right flat out lying and gaslighting like crazy and knowing they were doing it every step of the way. So I'm not going to get to all those things right now. Definitely tune in to the show tomorrow because it's going to be much better than this small little segment. I'll have pictures, I'll have videos, it'll be much, much more detailed. But the thing I had to talk to you about right now is, holy shit, man. That military parade was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. So look, I'll admit up front, I really thought it was going to look incredibly fascist, incredibly scary, and incredibly efficient. I thought we'd have U.S. soldiers dressed in like perfect suits without a wrinkle on them. Perfect military uniforms without a wrinkle on them. Fucking goose stepping. Everybody in perfect unison. Massive missiles that are coming by. Everything in tight formation. I thought it was going to be some shit like that.
Bro, it was like a Temu. It was like a Temu Alibaba military parade. It was crazy sad.
Instead, what we got was just flat out humiliating. It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. So you had a bunch of U.S. soldiers, honestly, if I'm keeping it real, looking really schlubby, right? They had, they were walking just like totally normal, like normal dude walk type stuff. And in fact, I'll ask you guys, look, my instinct on that is to say, is this sort of like a low-key fuck you to Trump? That like they didn't want to be there, they didn't want to have to do this parade. And so they do the parade, but their way of sort of protesting it is like, what if we just walked completely normally? Like, we're not in unison. We're all just walking together. You know, only a few people even bothered to do the fucking salute when they walked by him. Like, just really, really incredible stuff. And then, oh my God, they had like creaky-ass old tanks and shit. You had somebody who was literally carrying a drone, like carrying a little drone. What the fuck is that? Why would you not fly that bitch through? I mean, like, what the hell? And then I should also point out the logistics of this event were a catastrophe. So there's a great thread on Twitter of somebody who does like event planning and has set up things like this before. And he was going through every horrific mistake that they made. Just to give you a couple, there were these massive water jugs, but no cups to go with it. What? You had these like VIP bleachers, which were almost completely empty. I mean, you had like everybody who entered the area for the parade ended up going through like this one side entrance where there was a massive backup, but then another area that was open that nobody knew about, like you could get through easily. They had a Jumbotron that was fucked up and wasn't working properly. I mean, the whole thing was fucking amateur hour. And then, by the way, it was also like Coinbase was a sponsor. So like, you know, the crypto scammers are in corrupt deals with the Trump regime, as we all know. Palantir was a sponsor. That's the company that wants to create a mass surveillance database for blackmail on every single American. Lockheed Martin was a sponsor. That's, you know, the military-industrial complex, the assholes who get rich off of war. And, oh, by the way, would you look at that? There's a massive war going on now with Iran that Trump just said we're likely to jump into, okay? So, I mean, just what a failure. It was a failure at every level. Again, I thought it was going to be fascist looking and scary looking, and it would be like hyper efficient, and it would be, you know, almost like something out of a comic book or out of a superhero movie where like we're the villains and this is what it looks like when the villains are like firing on all cylinders. Instead, bro, this shit was like a Temu military parade. I mean, goddamn. So you have to tune into the show tomorrow because I'll have all the pictures and all the videos. I'll be able to break it all down for you in more detail. But so we have that. And then at the same time, y'all, at the same time, the No Kings protests were happening, not just all over the United States, in big cities and medium cities and small cities. There were also No Kings protests overseas. There was tremendous solidarity shown with the protesters all around the world. So the first estimates that I've seen, is amazing, is 4 to 6 million people showed up. So, oh, and that's the other thing. I can't believe I forgot to mention this. I'm burying the lead. Basically, nobody showed up to Trump's fucking birthday military parade. They said they were expecting at least 200,000 people. About 100,000 showed up, like half of what they expected. And by the way, the area where they were in was so large that, you know, it was very sparse that you saw an actual person. It just looked sad. It just looked genuinely sad. It really is a sign of the incompetence of this regime and the decay of the American empire. I've never seen such a stark sign of that. Trump also looked really bad for some reason, really like raisiny and wrinkly, and he had that scowl on his face the whole time. But the No Kings protest, bro, all these videos, all these pictures, all these signs. I mean, this thing, shit, just the picture coming out of like Boise, Idaho, dwarfed the military parade. It's incredible. And I'll tell you what, guys, even though we have nothing but a whole bunch of horrible shit going on in this country right now, yesterday went about as well as it could for morale for the left and for liberals. Because it was, I mean, it could not have gone worse for Trump. That military parade could not have been more embarrassing. And the No Kings protest could not have been more inspiring.
Yup.
So many people out there, all of them standing up to the regime. I really get the sense that something is changing in this country. We are not going to continue to go down this dark path forever. We are going to wake up from this nightmare. And the reason why I feel that way is the hope that everybody gave me. First of all, with the military parade being a massive dud, but also with the No Kings protest being a colossal success. So shout out to all you who went out there and protest. And like I said, do yourself a huge favor. First of all, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. But definitely tune into the show tomorrow because, as I said, we got a hell of a lot to talk about, man. We got more pictures and videos of what we just discussed, the No Kings protests and the military parade. Then we also have the war with Iran, which I got a million updates for you on that. This thing is only getting worse and worse. And Trump literally said that we may get involved directly. We already are involved directly, but what he means is U.S. boots on the ground, U.S. planes in the air. That's what he means. And then also the MAGA terror attack against Minnesota Democrats. I have to break down for you how the right shamelessly and knowingly lied about it every step of the way, and they were just completely and utterly debunked within like an hour of them trying to spread their bullshit. So tune into the show tomorrow. I love you guys. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you there.
All righty. Thank you, Kyle Kalinske. Let's see what else. What else can we watch? Let's check this out. Yeah,
summer sales go.
There's a right-wing MAGA terrorist on the loose.
Lawmakers earlier today, Minnesota lawmakers were targeted in what is being called by authorities targeted political violence. A manhunt is now underway for the gunman who was impersonating a police officer. Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman was killed. State Senator John Hoffman was wounded in this targeted political violence. A Minnesota state representative and her husband were shot and killed. And a state senator and his wife were shot and wounded in an act of targeted political violence at their homes on Saturday, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said. And because of that, the No Kings event in Northeast Minneapolis had been canceled due to a shelter-in-place order following this politically motivated shooting of two elected officials. They're Democrats, by the way, and apparently the manifesto. The shooter had a cop car, like a fake cop car, was dressed up like a fake cop, and I don't know. It's a very suspicious situation. Obviously, a horrible political violent act. But State Representative Melissa Hortman, a Democrat, and her husband were shot. Hortman, formerly the Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives, was a formidable public servant. The governor said of his friend, she is irreplaceable. State Senator John Hoffman, a Democrat, and his wife were both shot multiple times and underwent surgery. We're cautiously optimistic they will survive this assassination attempt, Walz said. The two shooting locations are a few miles away from each other in Champlin and Brooklyn Park, just north of Minneapolis. Hortman and his wife were shot around 2 a.m. in Champlin. Superintendent of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, Drew Evans, said. After Hoffman was shot, officers were heading to proactively check on Hortman when they encountered the suspect at Hortman's home at around 3:35 a.m., Evans said. The officers found a person who was dressed as a police officer wearing a vest and a badge with a taser and other equipment at the door coming out of Hortman's house. The suspect fired at the officers. Gunshot were exchanged, and the suspect was able to escape and flee on foot. The suspect's vehicle, which looked like a police vehicle, including police lights, was in Hortman's driveway. This is why I'm saying it's like incredibly suspicious. Was this an off-duty cop? Was this actually a cop? Was this like, how does he have so much police gear? Obviously, you can buy a lot of police gear.
I feel like it was an off-duty cop or some shit like that.
But it doesn't make a lot of sense. How was he able to escape? It's just like shocking events unfolding in Minnesota amidst this nationwide protest movement that's also astroturf. So everything is messed up, and I'm here to obviously parse through it all for you and try to explain all of it to you, regardless of all the chaos. He apparently had a list. The shooter apparently had a list of possible targets that were retrieved from the suspect's vehicle. The list named Hortman and Hoffman. The list also included dozens of other Democrats from Minnesota, including Governor Walz, Representative Ilhan Omar, Tina Smith, and Attorney General Keith Ellison, according to law enforcement sources familiar with the map.
Damn, bro, that guy wanted to kill like fucking 10 representatives.
Law enforcement officials are looking into whether the suspect may have been motivated by extreme views on abortion, the sources said. Security resources have been dispatched to protect those people named on the list. The Capitol Police has said it's working with our federal, state, and local partners. President Donald Trump has been briefed on the shooting and said such horrific violence will not be tolerated. Yeah, dude. Famously, people who want to give women the right to have bodily autonomy are always gadded up, murdering Democratic congresspersons. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we don't know who the suspect is yet. There is no, that's like what people, there's a lot of misinformation flying around. Obviously, in normal circumstances, we don't cover breaking news like this. The reason why I'm bringing this up and giving you what the actual information that is like readily available in the media is because there is obviously a motive developing from the clues that the police have actually revealed about this person. There's obviously some suspicious aspects of this already, but as is the case with all breaking news online, one of the primary functions that I serve here is to look through all of the misinformation that is being disseminated by politically motivated actors that have no interest in telling you the truth whatsoever and have every interest in turning into this like political football. And the reason why I'm covering this right now is because like there's information out there where people are saying, oh, he had a No Kings flyer in his car. There's been no real information about this as far as I know from mainstream resources. People are claiming that he was a left-wing extremist, for example. Again, doesn't make sense when compared to who his targets were. Why would a left-wing extremist try to kill Ilhan Omar, for example? But yeah, it's just the notion that like this is a left-wing extremist doesn't make a lot of sense because Ilhan Omar would not be a target. You know, CNN posted the flyers. Yeah, if you go to the official Twitter feed about this, and the top post are right-wing lunatics suggesting this guy was a liberal assassin hired to execute a state rep for an uncontroversial vote, and that Mel knew she was in danger based on a TV interview she gave yesterday. People have lost their minds. Given the targeted shootings of state lawmakers overnight, we are asking the public to not attend today's planned demonstrations across Minnesota at an abundance of caution. The photo is of flyers inside the vehicle. This is not flyers. These aren't flyers. Like, this is, again, it adds to the fakeness. It adds to the suspiciousness, okay? Do you understand? Like, every part of this is so nutty. Anyway, the list included U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar and U.S. Senator Tina Smith. Governor Tim Walz was on the list. In addition to Attorney General Keith Ellison, dozens of other Democrats from Minnesota were also included suspects on the list. This is what the law enforcement information revealed. So the idea that this guy is like a...
If you need 3D printing services, you need to try Xometry.
Radical left.
Xometry offers a massive menu of high-tech 3D printing.
Left-wing lunatic who also simultaneously wanted to go to the No Kings protest and wanted to participate in the No Kings protest and was like anti-Trump but also anti-Ilhan Omar is psychotic. Ilhan Omar is the most left-wing congressperson in the country. Like, literally, she is the most left-wing congressperson in the country. Anyway, Attorney General Pam Bondi said she's closely monitoring the situation. House Speaker Mike Johnson also condemned the violence, said every leader must unequivocally condemn it. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin, formerly the Minnesota Democratic Party Chair, said he's friends with both Hoffman and Hortman. Speaker Hortman was a leader in every sense of the word, from ushering in free lunch for our kids, protecting women's rights and reproductive care, to standing up for Minnesota families, Martin said in a statement. Melissa was also a close friend whom I've known since the very start of her political career. She was someone I personally relied on for advice, counsel, and friendship. I am beyond words. As I said many times when I introduced her at events, she is the very best Speaker of the House that Minnesota has ever had. This senseless violence must end. These heinous murders are a reflection of the extremism and political violence that have been fomented in our country. Martin said, today we recommit ourselves to fight harder for the values that Melissa and Mark embodied, building a kinder, more just, and loving world. If this murderer thinks we will be silenced, he is wrong. With the manhunt ongoing, police are urging community members to be cautious. Brooklyn Park is under a shelter-in-place order. Police warned if an officer comes to your door, call 911 to confirm that the officer is supposed to be there. Police are asking that no one open their door to a lone police officer, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office said. Licensed officers are working in pairs. Waltz warned, out of an abundance of caution, Minnesota should not attend any political rallies until the suspect is caught. So this is the last update from this situation. That's why the No Kings event in Northeast Minneapolis had been canceled. And I guess it's partially because given the targeted shootings of the state lawmakers overnight, we're asking the public not to attend today's planned demonstrations across Minnesota out of an abundance of caution, said the official Twitter account for the Minnesota State Patrol. But this seems so stupid. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he had this in the car, I don't know what his plan was. Maybe he wanted to like do a mass shooting at the protest or something. Local news has a suspect. Sources tell Associated Press 57-year-old Vance Belter is sought in connection with the targeted attacks on House Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and Senator John Hoffman and their spouses. So this is now there is confirmation of the director of security patrols for the Praetorian Guard Security Services. No wonder how he had police level gear. He might have had, this is if he is a residential armed home security licensed by the state of Minnesota. I suspect that is the reason why he had a cop car and was dressed in cop gear. These guys oftentimes will hire cops, off-duty cops, or even are cops themselves. So that makes a lot more sense now. All of a sudden, things are falling into place. But yeah, Elon will most likely delete this, by the way. He will most likely delete this. But he's done this before. He did this with the David DePipe assassination attempt. When he went after Nancy Pelosi's husband, Elon literally went with he was a gay lover narrative very quickly. And he posted like some random AI article to justify his ridiculous theory, right? And I think he's going to keep doing that. He's going to keep doing that, and he's just going to delete it eventually when people bully him enough. This kind of stuff can be incredibly dangerous. One of the examples I'll give you is like all of the fake that ran rampant after the stabbing that took place in the UK. Like, remember, they literally tried to do pogroms against Muslims and immigrants in general. They tried to light a hotel where migrants were staying on fire. So there's that aspect of it. Like that, there's that aspect of the danger in terms of like quick misinformation, rapid fire misinformation. And the other side of the story is that a lot of people, once they get this kind of information from a position of authority like Elon, unfortunately, they do see Elon as a position of authority. He owns a social media company. He's the richest person on the planet. And there are plenty of people who love him. When they get this information, they just shut out all other information. They don't even see when Elon inevitably corrects himself or deletes the post, and they just run with that. It's over. There will be tens of thousands of people that will see this, and they will see all of the right-wing sentiment that's being parroted online, and they'll just go, there it is. They'll say, there it is. The far left is being violent again. Hell yeah. And then that's it. They will never actually learn the truth. They won't care about learning the truth. They will never learn the truth. They will just keep going with this false information. Yeah, this is where it's coming from. Face of a madman. Former appointee of Tim Walz sought in deadly shooting a Minnesota lawmaker. Her husband had no Kings flyers in car. New York Post came out and instantly tried to find anything they could to try to like loosely associate him with the left. He wanted to kill Tim Walz, dude. Isn't that insane? Like, how can you make this argument? Like, Tim Walz was one of his assassination targets. I don't understand how people are running along with this
That's wild, bro.
Psychotic narrative. I think this is incredibly dangerous misinformation, and getting ahead of it is very important, but I don't even know if there's any way to get ahead of it. Like, you can have someone be like, you can have someone literally be like, I'm a fascist and I'm here to kill the far left, which I assume are the loony, radical leftist Democrats, and then successfully kill some people and get apprehended in the process of killing other people that he perceives as far left Democrats. And all it takes is for some dumb to be like, nah, dog, he was Antifa, and everybody runs with it. Everybody runs with it.
We even asked about Mr. Bolter's political affiliation.
Yeah, update from the shooter, the Minnesota shooter. Shocking, 0 people that have a brain. He is a Trump supporter.
And David Carlson, once again, his roommate and best friend, known him since 4th grade, did say Bolter voted for Trump and that he was a strong supporter.
No way. You mean to tell me that another instance of political violence came from the notoriously violent right? Wow. Let me tell you how shocked I am, dude. Let me tell you what a shocking revelation this has been. You mean to tell me that the guy who assassinated Democratic state legislators was not a left-winger? What?
Yeah, because left wingers don't do as much violence as right wingers. It's always a fucking right winger that does an assassination attempt or an assassination or a shooting or a mass shooting. It's always a fucking loser, incel, right winger. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, guys.
Let's go to the parade, shall we?
Be right
the
back.
first thing you'll notice about the parade is, dude, it was empty. This was the scene earlier today. They had cordoned off an area to hold 200,000 people or 250,000 people. As you could see, there was like nobody there. Nobody was there, bro. Nobody. It was so empty. Now, conversely, here's Philadelphia. The No Kings. Look at that. That was Philadelphia. Dude, insane. Dude, that was insane. Let's look at the parade footage, shall we? This was a Sherman tank driving by. I mean, if you look at that. It is fucking empty, bro. If you look at it, not a single bleacher here is even full, right? It is empty. This shit is fucking empty, bro. Just a smattering of people. There's nobody there, man. There's nobody there. There was another one that I had posted. I was like, dude, I've seen rat cover bands with a bigger draw. And I mean, dude, it was crazy. They were like, had sponsorships from Lockheed Martin and sponsorships from Palantir. But look at this, dude. I'm not even joking. I've seen rat cover bands that had more people at their concerts than this shit. Dude, empty. It's a national mall. Dude, this shit is empty, bro. Empty. Like, I mean, I don't know what they expected, but yeah, there was nobody there. Trump, like, dude, look at him. This is what it looks like when you blow $100 million for a party. No one shows up and your catheter is clogged, but you can't ask your wife for help because she fucking hates you for cheating on her so much and making her smile for the cameras. And of course, Hegseth is wondering if he can pull his flask out.
In 1914, years of escalating competition between European alliances culminate in the outbreak of the First World War. The two sides engage in a savage war of attrition.
Oh, Trumpy!
Trenches, barbed wire, poison gas, and mass casualties. The United States initially maintained its neutrality, but was eventually drawn into the conflict in 1917. Despite having less than one...
Dude, what the fuck is Trump doing, dude? I think he's peeing into his catheter, bro.
We'll cut to the chase. Since the beginning of time, humans have been trimming their nails. So, why do...
Literally, he's like, his catheter's clogged, and he's like, shit, I can't ask. Dude.
30,000 soldiers at the beginning.
shitting his diaper, dude.
Over 4 million, with nearly 2 million.
Dude, yeah, Melania, I don't know what she's doing, dude. Dude, I know, he's just like, oh, dude.
He's like shitting himself.
He reminds me of Rupert from fucking Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Remember when Steve Martin pretended he was Rupert? Yeah, dude, he's got a clogged catheter and he's just trying to make it start working again.
Soldiers serving in Europe. In 6 months of fighting, nearly 50,000 Americans lost their lives.
Notice about the parade is, dude, it was empty. This was the scene earlier today. They had cordoned off an area to hold.
You know that military parade had corporate sponsors? It had yes, the squeaky tank military parade. Donald Trump's fucking birthday party that only employees that had to be there showed up for had corporate sponsors. And this is the page. This is where you can see them. And this is right here, the button I hit. Let's take a look. I mean, this is America, so it makes sense that a car company like Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram brands is one of the sponsors, okay? And then, of course, Coca-Cola, USA, is Coca-Cola is a sponsor. But Walmart is also a sponsor. Walmart is a sponsor, which is wild because there are conspiracy theories of people who believe that Walmart is also a sponsor of the No Kings protest because people on Instagram are dumb. BNY is a financial services company. Goldman Sachs, you all know them, massive hedge fund bank, etc. Oracle is the company that is constantly trying to force the sale of TikTok so they can own it. And now we get into the funny area. This is where we get funny. Lockheed Martin as a sponsor for a military parade, total sense. The UFC though? The UFC, and mind you, I want to remind everybody, the UFC is actually owned by TKO, which also owns the WWE because it's Monday Night MAGA, guys. Also, many of you may have actually seen Coinbase, crypto president, podcast ad reads. Coinbase. But don't worry, it's not just fun, it's also dystopian because Palantir, yes, Palantir,
oh my God,
the orb that's going to watch all of us and collect all of our data and keep building files on us as they upload into drone AI systems to float around because we don't want to pay people to do the fascism. Palantir, big corporate sponsor. Exeger, this is, or maybe it's Exeger, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They're basically a supply chain management company and logistics. Again, makes sense because of the military, but this one, it took me a bit. Form Energy. I was like, what energy company is that? No. This is actually an energy drink. Form Energy is an energy drink company owned by UFC CEO Dana White. Yep, Form Energy. If you see somebody drinking this one, they're a Fed. And the final sponsor, Scott's Miracle Grow. That's right, keep off the grass, or they'll beat your head in with batons or something. I don't know. It was all on the America250.org website. You can see all of the corporate sponsors there. Legit shocked Target didn't fuck up and put their name in this list, though. But I guess Walmart beat them to it on this one. You know that military parade had corporate...
That's wild, bro. That looks funny.
2.5 years ago, when Russia started this senseless war, Ukraine asked us to deliver the same...
God, you are such a lame-ass loser. Oh my God, he's like, subject matter expert here. As a massive Star Wars fan, clearly Israel doesn't have the Star Destroyer. Oh yeah, this is my favorite tweet. Extremely good troll here, reaping a bounty in the replies. Breaking, Iran targeted infrastructure and buildings in Tel Aviv used by Israel to store F-35 jets and submarines. This is, well, I don't understand. That means it's definitely real. Okay? It's obviously real. What are we talking about? I mean, for the last 20 months, when Israel presented insane information like this, I always assumed it was real. I always assumed that this is normal and real and good, you know? Well. Yeah, I believe it.
Damn, bro. They got a whole missile in that building.
Assumed it was it was real. I always assumed that this is normal and real and good, you know?
They're making fun of the IDF because the IDF back a few months ago, basically, they always do this. They always like make videos about like how Hamas makes tunnels underneath the Gaza, and there's like storage of missiles and bombs and a Hamas command center and all this bullshit. It's never really real. It's all fake bullshit. Used as an excuse to basically destroy a hospital or whatever. They also did this with was it Lebanon? There was a few apartment buildings, and they were like, "There's missile storage. There's missile storage under the apartment." There's a meme on that.
Well.
Whoa, they got planes in there.
I believe it. I believe it. That's real and it's true. Wow, I believe it. I work in that building. There's definitely a sub underneath, but no planes. That part is fake. I don't know. I mean, I'm trained and conditioned into believing this from the past 20 months of Israel's righteous conquest, but Israel's war against buildings. Buildings filled to the brim with Hamas. No, that's real. That's definitely real for sure. That's actually an aircraft carrier. Yeah, that part is definitely real.
Aircraft carrier underground.
That is, by the way, significantly larger than this building. Israel's
That's
crazy
funny, dude.
because they have a tiny aircraft carrier that they made with like tiny versions of planes. Yeah, I've seen this one. I know this move. It's a meme, right? What do you think, chatter? Of course it's a meme. They're making fun of Israel being like Al Shiva compound, Al Ahli compound. Excuse me. It's very clear that the hospital has tunnels under it where it is actually technically the command and control.
Under the hospital, there is a respawn point. There's a respawn cube. There's a Minecraft spawn cube that spawns Hamas soldiers. We gotta take it out. We need to take out the whole hospital
for everyone in Hamas, and then they put out the like shittiest
so
animation
funny,
of all time. Yeah, they have a Star Destroyer, man. It's real. That's real. That's real. Israel has that. The tech gap is crazy. Remember when they did that with Lebanon? That was really funny because like Lebanon, unlike Gaza, has like Western journalists stationed in Lebanon. So they just went to the the hospital, and they were like, "Hey, can we take a look at your supposed like Hezbollah tunnels?" And they were like, "Sure." And they
look
like,
at the basement.
There is no Hezbollah tunnels here, nor Hezbollah gold. I think the fact that they are trying to do that, even with like immediate verification that they can get from Western press, is so shocking. Like they really don't care. It's actually really smart how the aircraft carrier works. Just add water and expands like those toy dinosaurs. Yeah. Just a heads up, that's fake. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, this is fake?
We know. We get it, you dumb fucking chatters.
You mean to tell me Israel doesn't have a Star Destroyer that's floating in this like anti-gravity chamber that's built underneath this residential compound in Tel Aviv? Wow, that's anti-Semitic of you to think that Israel doesn't have such a ginormous tech gap with everybody else on the planet. I regret to inform you that the pro-Israel crowd does not realize this is a shit post.
Post by a pro-Pelly that I actually thought he was a parody account, but nope, he is the real deal.
Dog, there's no way. They're making fun of the shit that the IDF posts, man. They're making.
I used to spend 5 hours a week meal prepping. In fact, those delicious dinners saved my partner and me from days old.
Fun of also no community notes. No community note under this. It's real. What is this? Is an Imperial destroyer from Star Wars. Might be a good idea to double check your sources. Incredible stuff, man. I love that
These people can't understand any satire at all.
This is real. People are posting this with sincerity.
Tel Aviv used by Israel to store F-35 jets and submarines. So as you can see, that is an Imperial Star Destroyer from...
That is an Imperial Star Destroyer. Why are they soy posting, man? Yeah, this is just as fake as the IDF posts, big guy. That's the point. As a matter of fact, that's the whole point of this shit post. The entire point of this shit post is, oh my God, they're so mad. This is an Imperial Star Destroyer from Star Wars, you moronic fat. It is not in the basement of an apartment building in Tel Aviv. Subject matter expert here. That's a Star Destroyer. Yeah. Wait till they find out the Star Destroyer was filled with copies of Mein Kampf. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Every room inside the Star Destroyer, I checked. Okay. Every room inside the Star Destroyer had a copy, annotated copy of Mein Kampf in Hebrew. Yeah. Yeah, I hate to report on such atrocities, but and you know who was reading the copies of Mein Kampf? It was next to the baby's crib. Yeah. It was for babies.
No, what are the babies learning?
Yup. You guessed it. I guess there's no other.
I guess Iran has to go in there and just bomb all the babies. God damn, Iran. That's how Israel thinks. They're like, what? The Gazans have books? The Mein Kampf book, and they're reading it? Oh, we gotta blow the babies up.
There's no other way to go about this. This is what we've learned from you, Israel. This is what we learned from you, Israel. Why are you behaving like this? I thought this shit was valid now. I'm so confused because for the past 20 months, this is what you have behaved like. And I was supposed to take this seriously and with all sincerity, you know?
Star Wars. Now, Israel's very impressive and could probably build that with Jewish space lasers and all, but let's assume it is...
Bro, this guy is back. He's back. He's back. He's back. He's back. He's back. This guy will not give up. Every single day he asks what the glasses are. And it's funny because there are plenty of... I've talked about these glasses that I'm wearing right now many times over. And there are definitely people who know what the brand of glasses are, and we're just not going to tell him because he just is so committed. No, I'm not going to tell him. It's so much funnier. There are people who are already writing the brand. There are people already writing the brand in the chat, and nope, I'm not telling him.
Let's assume it's real. It would have the dimensions of 1600 by 985 by 4.
Oh God, you are such a lame ass loser.
God,
oh my
you
God,
fucking
like,
dork.
Expert here. As a massive Star Wars fan, almost as big as a fan of Star Wars as I am of Israel. Erming. Clearly, Israel doesn't have the Star Destroyer.
Well, you do now. This is the Star Class Star Destroyer, and you can't really compare that to the apartment complex above because, it's just not the right dimensions. If you think about it, shut the fuck up, you geek. You geek. You genocidal geek. I like geeks. Genocidal ones? No.
155 meters. Destroyer. Holy shit, I can't believe I'm making this video. A Star Destroyer would exceed the pyramids of Giza and could not fit beneath residential buildings. Also, what the fuck does he mean they're storing submarines underneath the buildings? I'm a submarine veteran, so yeah, you could store submarines in dry area. Like, for example, when they go through overhaul. What you do is you actually put the submarine...
Oh, God, our military is so ass, bro. I'm sorry. We're so cooked. Erming, I'm a submarine veteran here. Submarine veteran here. Lover of Israel here. Like, obviously, you cannot fit a Star Destroyer underneath a building.
Into what's called a dry dock, as you can see right here. And then the dry dock, there's like a wall that comes up. They pump the water out, and, the whole entire submarine is exposed. They have permanent ones and they have floating dry docks, but it wouldn't be underneath a residential building. I don't even know how that would
Dude,
work.
We know.
Kind of like floating city. Which, you know what? I'm not even gonna get into this.
This does look like a purposeful jab at Israel, given how Israel often defends strikes in Gaza by claiming military usage. Fun fact, there's a nation in the Middle East that does have nuclear weapons, but refuses to confirm how many. Oh my God. They're eating his ass in the replies.
God damn, get him.
TikTok is not fucking with Israel, bro. I'm sorry. You got to try again. Erming, got to try again. They are so desperate, says the yellow ribbon account. That's because the average Iran supporter IQ is approximately 1 to 3, so they'll believe almost anything. This is such a funny self-own because everyone, like, this is a meme about what Israel defenders choose to believe. And all of the Israel defenders are, they're like, oh, if you believe this, you're a fucking moron. It's like, yeah, no, that's what we've been saying. That's what we've been saying, dumbass. You have behaved like a fucking moron, you know? This whole time, you have behaved like a fucking moron. Can't wait for you to be arrested, says Jake the Bellyache. Leave my country already, terrorist supporter. I mean, it's my country too, you know? Sucks for you, I guess, but that's kind of the beauty of this country, no? Is that you're going to have disagreements with people. Look at the proposed community notes of the original post. Israel does not store submarines in apartment buildings. They are based at the Haifa Naval Base. What? Everyone on X knows this Suleiman is an R word, but this unequivocally confirms. Is this AI video showing among... Dude, they're so mad. I love that this doesn't have a community note, which is, it must be real. I'm sorry. It must be fucking real. That's no community note means is real.
That's great, bro.
In any case, yeah, Praetorian Guard assassinates politician they're supposed to be guarding. You know, we're back in time. We're back in time for that.
Let's check out Tennessee Brando. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's check out too many tabs.
When you're out having fun this summer, make sure to stay safe and be prepared with My Medic First Aid Kits. They have every...
And I think I've mentioned this on the show, but again, my brain is mush.
Yeah,
between
mush.
the anxiety and between the baby and between the age and everything else just going
news
on.
cycle.
All of this different stuff, my brain. And where was JD Vance this entire time?
Oh,
Guess
forgot him at
where he
school.
was.
Forgot him at school.
No,
No?
even worse. Guess where JD Vance was?
Not in
He
Rome?
was on the Theo Von podcast,
No, son
baby.
of a bitch!
He was on the Theo Von podcast. Oh, the Vice President of the United States was on the Theo Von podcast. And what did Theo ask him about? Theo looked at Theo fucking Von.
Theo Von. Fuck Theo
What about
Von.
Gaza? I've said it's a genocide. Oh, you've said it's a genocide, Theo Von? You've said? You fucking said? Are you having difficulty relaxing? There's never been a more poignant about that. I literally made a big deal in the last episode that I rant about Theo Von too often.
We weren't going to talk about Theo Von anymore and his
yeah,
class traiterness.
But then he did it again.
Yeah, of course. He can't stop doing it.
He got up and did it again.
Mhm.
And but so did Joe.
Yeah.
Because when this whole thing with the breakup happened, as many of you know, many of you listening to this, the FBI director, Kash Patel,
Yes.
was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Mhm.
Because Joe Rogan's podcast is state-run media now.
Yep.
Joe Rogan's podcast, like Joe Rogan is 100%. When you are watching federal mass troops rip children from their homes, when you are seeing tear gas in the street, when you're seeing any of these things, please remember that this is all brought to you by Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
That this is all
Fuck you,
part
Joe and Theo.
of their entire operation. And that he is nothing more than the Tokyo Rose. That's it. He's Austin Rose. He's just down there, just spitting out propaganda, asking, "Oh, I'm just this is where I get all my questions from." And I'm noticing that he's trying to now crop up. Joe Rogan specifically is now trying to grow a whole new crop of influencers who are just asking questions about so many things.
But they never ask questions directly. They all have a front seat to people that are in actual power. They never ask actual questions.
And in this case, literally, Kash Patel, the FBI director, is sitting across from him at a table.
Yes.
The same way you're sitting across from me.
Yeah.
It pings. Oh, shit, Elon Musk just said that Donald Trump's in the Epstein files? And Kash Patel, the FBI director, who is in charge of the Epstein files?
Yup.
Said, "Oh, that's out of my lane." It's your whole lane.
Job.
It's your whole lane. And here's what's crazy. We have hours of footage of Kash Patel, who had a podcast, because of course he fucking did. Him, Dan Bongino, the assistant FBI director, and others, all of them talking about repeatedly about the Epstein files and how when they get in power, when we get in power, folks, we're gonna
release the files.
Epstein files open. When we're in power, and you're gonna know everything. And what's the first thing they did? They got in power and they go, "Nothing in there. That guy killed himself. Turned out it was a nothing burger."
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Because they were on the outside, sitting there going, "Whatever we need." Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a decade. Those are the exact words of Jeffrey Epstein. We have them on tape.
Yep.
Donald Trump knew all of this shit the entire time.
Yes.
He knew all of this shit the entire time. There's an interview with Donald Trump talking about, I think, dating or women or something like that. And in it, he said, "Oh yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, he likes him a little young." So he knew. So he knew.
And was still his friends.
And was still friends with them. Never said, "Hey."
Want to gouge
never
my
said
ears
once,
out.
Maybe that guy should go to jail.
No, he
Not
said,
once.
"Let me get a free ride on the plane with RFK Jr.
Yeah.
He loves flying around on planes with him and Bill Cosby."
RFK Jr. claimed one time he was doing that to go on a fossil hunt.
Oh, wow.
I
I,
think
just
that
thought
means-
of the darkest
Yeah,
joke in the
right.
world. I'm not going to say.
It means to date 26-year-olds.
Oh, God.
But that's what this is. These are the guys. And
These are
so
the
when
people
I'm
in charge.
seeing these people, I'm seeing a lot of the RFK guys who would say all this bullshit on TikTok and on Instagram and on Twitter. They're all trying to pretend that RFK has nothing to do with any of this. He's at the table.
Yeah.
He's at the table. He's in the cabinet. Open the doors to the cabinet. What's looking back at you? It's RFK. Hello, kids. Hi, I'm going to take away your vaccines and send you to a farm. He's right there. So stop pretending. All these MAGA guys. Speaking of RFK,
Yeah.
I got served a fucking ad for that weird blue shit that turns your brain. I got served an ad for that on
You
TikTok.
got a TikTok shop ad for that?
I've been getting TikTok shop ads for that blue stuff that RFK drinks.
Yes.
And gas masks. That's where we are. That's where we are. Hey, come get health advice from TikTok shop, but make sure you buy your gas mask, because if you say the wrong thing in the wrong fucking neighborhood while ice is rolling through, you might not be able to breathe. And we haven't figured out the harmonic frequency yet to harmonically heal your fucking lungs from tear gas exposure. Get fucked. I'm so... All right.
I was just thinking that Harry Styles' Sign of the Times would be a great song right here, but we can't clear that song.
We can't afford it. If we wanted stuff like that, then people would have to join us at promania500.net at the Fed tier level.
Yeah.
Because if you're a Fed, listen,
You gotta
the
tell
FBI,
us.
I don't know of how much data. I don't know if Palantir is completely online yet. Do you know about Palantir?
Yeah, I know that they're from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's the ball from Lord of the Rings.
The eyeball?
No.
Oh.
It is owned by the eyeball.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's okay.
He's gonna talk about Palantir, the tech company. I think I'm gonna end it here, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking our stream and stopping by. I don't know what else to cover. Maybe Internet Today. Let's check out Internet Today before I leave.
Red licorice or black licorice? I say both. Oh, you think you've had licorice? You buffoon. Only those...
It's Weekly Weird News, and by the time you're actually watching this, hundreds of protests nationwide will probably be in full swing, as will Donnie Trump's big dumb 80th birthday parade in D.C. We're recording this on Friday night before all of that goes down, and presumably there will be much to discuss on Monday.
Please send me video clips and stuff on Blue Sky so that I don't have to go tracking everything down on Monday.
If you're out there and you got a camera, let us know.
Or if you just see a clip online, just share it with us so it's easier.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to dig through.
Yeah.
But in an effort to give you and ourselves a bit of relief from the horribly interesting times that we're currently living in, especially here in Southern California, today we're going to try to keep things a bit more fun. Probably won't succeed. Because, yeah, our first story today does have to do with the unrest here in L.A., as the public very loudly rejects the terror that ICE is inflicting upon our community.
ICE.
And this is a little subplot that we've seen hints of throughout the past week, but which hasn't gotten much attention from the news media, because they are, of course, way too focused on getting a dozen different camera angles of any trash can that catches on fire.
They've been so upset the past couple of days that there hasn't been any, like,
come on,
big unrest.
Do something.
Yeah, we just keep having to show the clips from Sunday and Monday.
There's nothing to look at. I mean, obviously, we could film the cops just wilding out and
trampling people with their horses and beating them with sticks.
But like, that's not. We don't want to do that.
Doesn't help that narrative. But far from downtown LA, where most of the action is actually taking place, another form of resistance is also taking place. The masked Gestapo agents attacking our communities are not from here. So after a long workday of kidnapping day laborers and cooks, they gotta sleep somewhere. And try as they might to be sly about it, the various hotels around LA that they've been holed up in have been quickly identified by locals. Probably also by staff members at these hotels. And large crowds of pissed off community members have then showed up at these hotels with the intention of being as annoying and disruptive as possible to ensure that these evil pieces of shit sleep very poorly, and the hotels housing them feel embarrassed and maybe even kick them out. And, well, here's just a little taste of that.
Protesters are starting to go around to different parts of LA to find out where ICE is staying.
Get 'em.
Where they are being housed, essentially.
Get 'em.
I am at LAX at the Westin, right behind me, where there is a small protest happening demonstrating that people do not want ICE to be in their neighborhoods or in the city at all. There are multiple demonstrations happening at hotels across all of Los Angeles, where sometimes there's actually protests overnight to be as loud as they can possibly be to make sure that they don't go to sleep.
Apparently ICE is staying at the Doubletree in Whittier right here.
Get 'em.
Allegedly, I was told from an inside source that if a car says California permit fleet, it's an ICE vehicle.
Aw,
And they're
shit.
all normal cars here, but they have a California permit fleet sticker.
Our communities
Aw,
are being
shit.
separated. Families are being separated. Our voices are not being heard.
Why are we going after hard-working immigrants who are just trying to make a living? They make this country what it is today. I'm out here for them.
Hey, get it. Get it. Hey.
A crowd of protesters waved flags, held signs, played loud music, and made as much noise as they could after getting word that ICE agents are staying here at the Embassy Suites Hotel following 3 raids in Downey. The message from demonstrators for federal authorities very clear. Immigrants are part of the fabric of this country.
They are.
These things are cause for alarm, and I think that's why you see so many people out here.
California State Senator Sasha Renee Perez, who represents the 25th District, including Pasadena, says she received reports that ICE agents were asking hotel employees for documentation. She says many
Oh my
workers
God.
were so uncomfortable, they walked off the job.
And about an hour ago, the community that showed up and organized kicked them out. We literally ran them out of town. And I want to communicate to everyone that that's what we should do. We should organize and really, show them that they're not welcome here.
Chevy is called the heartbeat of America. Like the people who keep this country moving. For them, only...
Fuck yeah. Get 'em. Get 'em. Get him. Just being mad annoying so they can't sleep. That's great. Hey.
We were right outside where they're
That's
staying,
so
right up
fire.
there on the top floor. They keep peeping their heads down. One dude had like an army shirt, and they're flipping us off. I was like, maybe it's not them. Oh, it's definitely them, bro. I kind of feel bad because we're yelling at the security right here that have nothing to do with it. But they're protecting them that are inside. The entire city popped out. This is beautiful.
Hey. Get it.
They're still in there. We just gotta take it a day at a time. The manager came out and she said that they're about to escort them through the back. So we'll see if that's true.
Hey, furry.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially like Pasadena. I don't know, you might not know about Pasadena, but it's not the place you really expect, much like
it's where your
civil unrest to go down.
It's where your grandparents would stay if they were visiting LA. They'd be like, you know what I want to do when I'm there? Go to the beautiful Huntington Library and stay in Pasadena at a resort.
It's a very just like middle-aged white boomer, pretty liberal leaning, but it's not the place you'd expect people to get off the couch and go yell at a hotel.
For the nerds and the pop culture freaks out there, for the nerds, it's where Einstein lived. For the pop culture
that's
freaks,
cool.
it's where Doc Brown's house is from Back to the Future.
That's also
and
cool.
You know that massive fucking house?
And Michael Myers, well, that's South Pasadena.
That's South Pasadena.
A lot of movie houses in Pasadena, and for the science freaks is where JPL is.
Yes.
Anyway, you love to see it. And with some coverage of what's gone down at these hotels for the past week, here's Mother Jones. Car horns, tambourines, trumpets, call and response chants, whacking a spoon against a metal folding chair. Demonstrators outside Los Angeles area hotels, where Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents are believed to be sleeping, are employing creative methods to keep those ICE agents awake. No sleep for ICE is the rallying cry, and the medium is noise. ICE raids targeting Los Angeles County businesses are entering their 8th day, and the Trump administration clearly has been eager to keep tensions high in the area, appealing a federal order to withdraw the National Guard troops that California says were illegally deployed to the city. Protests have continued too. For the past several nights, demonstrators have gathered outside hotels where they believe ICE agents are staying, almost all of them in small cities within Los Angeles County, but outside LA proper, including Glendale, Pasadena, Whittier, Arcadia, and Burbank. And I still haven't gotten like a clear answer on why they're specifically not staying in the city of LA.
You would assume that with the curfew that's been in place that that would be where they'd want to stay. But
a lot of hotels downtown, not far from, I mean, it's just interesting. Like, I mean, maybe they just have a policy, but it is strange.
Yeah, it continues. KTLA reported that a large crowd gathered outside a DoubleTree in Whittier on Wednesday night, while a widely circulated TikTok video from independent journalist Jeremy Lee Quinn shows demonstrators on a sidewalk outside a Hilton Garden Inn in Arcadia. A second TikTok video claims that ICE subsequently left the building. Journalist and filmmaker David Ferrier shared footage of a protest outside a Hilton in Glendale, writing, "Everyone just started doing laps while blasting horns so the little fuckers had a terrible sleep." He added, "And maybe Hilton will think twice about taking these rioting goons in again." An Instagram video posted by the account All Things Labor shows a person exuberantly playing a trumpet with text overlaid, "Heard ICE is trying to sleep. Time to pull out the trumpet. No sleep for kidnappers." That's a tuba. It's the louder one.
Yeah, it's a little higher pitched.
It was not immediately clear if ICE agents were actually in all of the targeted hotels. None of the hotels named in information circulating on social media responded to requests for comment from Mother Jones. Meanwhile, Los Angeles Magazine reported that hundreds of demonstrators gathered earlier this week in front of Pasadena's AC Hotel to protest the reported presence of ICE agents there. One Instagram reel from a local musician who attended the event showed demonstrators chasing white cars marked police through the hotel's parking garage, cheering and shouting, "Fuera ICE! Out ICE!" as they drove away.
Fuera!
David Ferrier
Fuera
put it in
ICE!
He's the guy that made Tickled, documentary. He's got a pretty good podcast. It's technically part of Dax Shepard's podcast, but it's good. But he's been posting on his blog a lot. He's brought an audio recorder, so he's podcasting from the protests. It's been really fucking good content.
I sent you the video, I think, on Discord, so you can put it in here if you want. But I was with a trumpet guy in one of the marches this week where we went past a line of cops, and he just goes,
create a voiceover using your own voice. Customize.
It's, you know, like the trumpet doesn't get enough love, and this is a tremendous opportunity for not just the trumpet, but all brass instruments. They are the funniest instruments.
Two things. One, to your point, a tuba would actually be great because in the previous white power protests, they were following like fat juds around going boom, 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 boom. And the other thing is, this week I have found just a firsthand appreciation for all of those old paintings and stories about people marching into war and having the drummers and the flute players. It gets people cranked.
When the
It gets people,
crowd
like,
has drums,
amped up.
Yeah, you know, there's a reason they bring drums into war in formation. It keeps everyone locked in. As the kids say.
They were marching right behind the truck and keeping the beat with the chants, and it was pretty awesome.
Anyway, it continues. The hotel asked them to leave after we put on pressure, text on the video read, over footage of people in black uniforms wheeling a loaded luggage cart out of the building.
Exactly.
An AC hotel employee, speaking anonymously to Los Angeles Magazine, said that some ICE agents had left, quote, but the tires on their cars had been slashed, which is why they remained parked on the lot's 7th level hours after checking out of AC Hotel. And from what I heard, they've been having trouble
getting tow trucks.
A lot of tow truck drivers show up and they're just like, nah, fuck no. First of all, this big crowd of people is telling me not to do this. But second of all, fuck you. It's ICE.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Call someone else.
I love LA.
In one case over the weekend, an elected official confirmed that ICE agents had been spotted at a hotel, but evidently had since left. Besides making noise, demonstrators have also left a deluge of one-star Google reviews for the targeted hotels, many of them noting the presence of rats. Late last night and early this morning, we received several reports of immigration enforcement officers here in several Pasadena hotels. State Senator Sasha Renee Perez said in a Sunday, June 8th video on Twitter, we know that they actually have checked out of several of these hotels, and in many cases, several hotels have actually asked them to leave.
Yeah.
Bullying works.
That's right, folks.
And that's what we're doing out here. We're bullying the bullies.
Bully them.
Now, as we've repeatedly said, the ultimate goal of all of the demonstrations in and around LA has been to make ICE agents and their various accomplices and enablers feel so demoralized and that they're less effective at their jobs and hopefully get the hell out of our communities.
Also, you know, standing up for our neighbors and showing that we're not down with this shit.
And as has been pointed out throughout the entire week that this has been happening, this is a test case for the rest of the country.
Yep.
And we showed the entire country that we're not putting up with this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you know, the comparison's a little heavy-handed, but it's a blitzkrieg. It's, if the fascists think that if you do a bunch of shit at once, if you take them by surprise, that's really the only way they can win, because this shit is not popular, and
there's so many videos of like ICE rolling in the neighborhoods, and just because of the way that Los Angeles is laid out, entire communities come out within seconds and just swarm the cars and like, what are you doing? And people drive by and they honk their horns to get the attention of everyone else. Like, this is, if nothing else, has shown just how good of a community Los Angeles is, no matter where in the city you live. It really makes you feel good about your friends and neighbors.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see like examples of this from like outside LA. There's a video in like Missouri or something.
Yeah.
And there was like a guy whose like restaurant was getting raided, and he's like, here's my bag of fucks. I don't care if you have a fucking warrant.
You guys understand we have a signed warrant authorizing us from a judge to be here. And here's my bag of fucks.
It's beautiful. You love to see it.
Now, the clear goal of the feds, on the other hand, is also demoralization. They want all of us to just accept the presence of masked goons driving around like maniacs in unmarked vans through our neighborhoods and kidnapping people off the streets who nobody that actually lives here has any problems with. To do nothing would be to let them win. Like, just for an example, in your mind, please, for 1 second, imagine if LA did nothing for the past week. What would happen?
They'd move on to the next metropolitan area.
It would have been increased like times 1,000. They would have swept through. They would have keep going everywhere. It's winning. We are winning here. If we did nothing, they would win, and thankfully the people of LA have risen to the occasion, whether it's thousands demonstrating downtown, neighbors dropping everything to confront ICE agents terrorizing their communities, or folks who gather outside of hotels and make as much noise as humanly possible. We've never been madder, but we've also never been more proud to call this our home.
Yeah, it's a real mixed feeling, but I love this fucking city, man.
Me too. And the one thing that really has broken my heart in the past 2 days, and I know that this will be a problem that will be solved quickly, especially how the community has reacted, but if you drove around yesterday and today, corners that are usually filled with food vendors, especially taco stands that are extremely popular with very long lines on any night of the week are gone. There is nothing there, and it is so depressing.
I've seen multiple videos of just like
Mr. Wonderful here. My friend Howard Marks is the
Fuck off.
the gaming giant that was just acquired for an impressive 68.
The
setup's
meat still spinning on the spindle,
just completely
gone.
abandoned. Like they're making these people fucking disappear, and it ain't right.
Yeah, luckily
just
there's
objectively fucking immoral.
On the other side of things, there have been community members and organizations that have been going around and going up to people and being like, hey, they're coming around in this area looking for people.
Yeah.
We've gathered enough money from the community to buy out your whole cart of flowers so that you can eat tonight.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So there are a lot of positive things happening amidst all of this.
Yeah, it's it's heartwarming. It sucks that sucks why we're
doing this, but
even
it's
talking. Yeah, it's good to see that in the face of this fucking bullshit that people have each other's backs.
Yeah, there's like with the fires earlier in the year, just like in the face of tragedy, LA once again shows just how good it is at its core.
Anyway, that's enough of all that for today. We're gonna, of course, be covering all this for as long as it continues, and we will certainly have plenty to discuss on Monday.
I hope it rains on his parade.
I hope it rains on his parade, and I hope the LAPD doesn't wild out too much because they are preparing for war, which is fucking hilarious. Because if you actually go to like the No Kings website, the LAPD says that they're specifically mobilizing all of their troops. Every single cop is going to be on a 12-hour shift and costing the city tens of millions of dollars. But like they're specifically doing this for the No Kings protest. If you go to nokings.org, which you should, and you look at the LA area ones, like the one I'm going to tomorrow, at least the first one I'm going to, is from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It's just in a little fucking park.
Yeah.
And like most of them are just like in the morning or the middle of the day.
It's really going to be a bunch of people cheering, doing chants, and listening to speeches from local leaders and organizers.
Yeah.
It's like, it is so fucking nothing. So if anything happens, especially with what we've seen this week, if anything happens, it's going to be the militarized police or the actual military.
I mean, if anything happens, it's going to be a lot of normies who go to these No Kings protests being like, well, what else am I doing for the rest of the day? Maybe I should go downtown.
Yeah, sure.
And hell yeah, if that happens. But let's move on now to some actual...
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.